The Republic thinks my people are dead, scattered. They are wrong. You should have destroyed us when you had the chance. As long as one Mandalorian lives, we will survive. A lone Mandalorian is a small army. Clan Ordo alone is a force to be reckoned with. We will unite as before, and one day the banners of all Mandalorian clans will fly at my back. Our honor, fortunes, and lives revolve around battle. From our earliest history, this has been our way, as it will be always. Our history and our ways are something we shield from outsiders. Only on the battlefield can you truly learn of someone. There are two types of people to Mandalorians: allies and enemies. Right now, we are allies. I don't want the Sith to destroy the Jedi. But before you set yourself against me, consider one thing. Many in the Republic look at Mandalores as wild, violent Kinrath. Now, after many years, a new Mandalore has returned. We have a long tradition of honor in dealing with allies and those who provide us aid. It's a tradition that those we war against are quick to forget. We have suffered defeats before, but none like our defeat at Malachor. Our spirit may have faded, but it hasn't died. It will burn bright again, like a star in the heavens. The end of the Mandalorian Wars was something new and unknown to us. Revan fought us like a true warrior and defeated us on our own terms. Revan embodied our philosophy and showed us our own weaknesses. Then he exploited them. It was a painful lesson. With Mandalore dead, our weapons taken, and our pride destroyed, many lost their way. But I will change that. Only Mandalore can command the clans. There was no new Mandalore for many years. Being Mandalore is the greatest honor for our people. Mandalore's helmet is passed from one leader to the next. When Revan executed Mandalore before our eyes, he cast Mandalore's helmet away, denied it to us. He took Mandalore's helmet and left with it. If he hadn't done that, the new Mandalore would have been chosen that day. But without leadership and direction, the clans scattered, fell apart. It isn't just any helmet. It means more to us than your lightsaber does to you. While it wouldn't be unheard of for a new helmet to be created, it was determined to find the real thing. Claiming the helmet is a traditional way for the new Mandalore to be chosen. Even in defeat, we held on to our traditions. This is the helmet of the old Mandalore, the same one he wore in the Exar Kun War, and many wars before that. During the Jedi Civil War, I met and traveled with Revan. I was there with him when he defeated Darth Malak, and traveled with him afterwards. Eventually, he told me where he had taken the helmet. He set me upon this path.
Hello there, everyone, and welcome back. Last time we were in these parts, I was finishing up discussing how Book of Boba Fett was a massively disgusting pile of turds, produced by genius writers Jon Feverbrain and Dave Filoni. But the sad state of things is that they are showing as little skill in all their work as of late. With arguably one successful season under his belt after George sold the company to Disney, and even that season being buried underneath member berries, I think it's safe to say that Dave is not the hero people painted him as after Clone Wars. This is to say that Disney Star Wars is not going to get better anytime soon. Oh sure, there are those who would disagree, such as this insightful comment I got comparing me to CinemaSins of all things, and for that, how dare you. I do love that they're saying if I find anything wrong, I think that that's a critique, and, well, yeah, that's the idea. I take this and point out what's done specifically well, or what's done especially poorly. That's how a critique works. But if Dave and John are as poor as I say, they would surely demonstrate this level of incompetence in all their work. And they don't, right? Look at The Mandalorian. That singular success they've had since the sequels. And Grogu is such a great character. I love how he, well, he's cute. That's good writing, right? But he's the Babe, and you're not supposed to give it personality, I guess.
Got it, dude.
And who can deny Mando the Great? I mean, I like how he was once, we really don't know anything about him after 3 seasons, do we? Well, he's completely dedicated to the Mandalorian sect and their beliefs, even though they're stupid. I mean, all we really know about them is weapons, sometimes allowed Beskar, sometimes not, and that you can't take off your helmet. I'm sure that won't change in this season. But Mando is dedicated to them until Pedro Primadonna wanted to show his face off more. but now he's back on the train. He loves Grogu. That's a single consistent character trait after 3 seasons. Let's see, who else we got in this? There's Cara Dune, and I actually do like her character. It's rare that somebody tells me a chick can beat up a 200-pound dude, and I look at her and I say, actually, that checks out. Plus, there's a lot to be explored with her. They found a way to use her just occasionally enough that I want to see more of her. Not see her more often, strictly, but more of her, if you follow me. Oh, that's awkward. Not like that. Well, Bill Burr's character had a great moment in Season 2. Arguably, his character is one of the best in the terms of an arc throughout the show. That's telling. There's Bo-Katan. I would have argued that there wasn't all that much for her character to do up until now, but her actress has some talent when she wants to, and puts some effort towards her character. Same, she's barely in this show. But that's all in the past. Let's look towards the future here. Give Dave and Jon a chance to really wow us with Mando Season 3, The Revenge of the Piss. Real quick, before we get into this, I would just like to remind everybody of the rumor that Kathleen Kennedy interfered in Book of Boba Fett, which is why it was so terrible. Supposedly, Favreau was allowed to direct this as he wants. Okay, Episode 1, Better Be Pirated. We're back on the helmet intro, fitting as it's all anyone in this universe cares about either. But we see Armorer Lady. This is a repeated problem in Disney Star Wars, but this is so obviously a set. Like, I would never believe that an armorer lived and worked here. I would never believe anyone lived and worked here. Remember Luke's room on Tatooine? Filled with dozens of odd bits and bobs that felt very lived in? Well, this is the opposite of that. But she is smithing a helmet that apparently has some magical properties because the piece of metal magically straightens itself out as she's working on it. Is this what makes it so hard to forge Beskar? I think we may have underestimated her skill. But she's working on a new helmet, and oh, it does not look good when it's done. It looks like a Fisher-Price toy. Is that the goal? Make the in-show merch look just as shitty as the Walmart toy will? Disney, you have all the money. Why did you make it look like this? At the very least, why did you focus on it so much if you knew it looked like this? But it turns out the drumming background is actually not ambient music. That is happening in-universe. We don't see who it is that's drumming. There's just a shot of drums being hit, so apparently some poor Mandalorian's job is to sit there drumming away for who knows how long while she forges. I have to imagine making a new helmet can take quite a long time, especially with Beskar. Who teaches Mandalorian fine arts, I wonder? But we come out of the cave and there are several dozen Mandalorians. What the butt fuck a duck. When we last saw them, there were 2. I can understand recruiting some people, but this is insane. We also aren't sure how long it's been since Book of Boba Fett, because Mando is still solely focused on his redemption. This bitch out here is taking kids like she's the First Order. Some planetside orphanage is empty now. But a child is getting his Mandalorian helmet. It's actually Big Chungus' son, but we don't realize that just yet. Don't know why. This seems like a great moment for some world building if you just take a second to allow people to talk. You can do that, right? You don't horribly break shit every time you do some world building, surely. But I have a question. Mandalorians can't take off their helmets once they go on. I know, it's stupid, but those are your rules. So what happens when he outgrows his helmet? Because he is a preteen. The head will presumably grow. Like, at the very least, wouldn't the Armorer Lady have to take measurements when she needs a new one? Remember how everyone says the Jedi Order were kind of dicks for taking kids and training them away from their family for decades? This kid isn't much older. Why is it okay when they do it? But where are they even getting all this Beskar from? We know they can't mine it from the planet anymore, and if it's a commonplace commodity, why aren't more people making armors and weapons from it? This shit will stop lightsabers, people. You think a few elites would want to make use of it? Turn your brain off. A child is getting a helmet. And then she pulls out a bowl to take the salt water and christen him, I think. It's never explained. But then she pauses because, oh my goodness, it's the Mosasaurus. Oh, the water's not... Okay, yeah, I saw this.
Are we for real right now?
Yeah, this really happens. He is here looking for something half decent after Jurassic World. Sorry, friend. There's no decency here to spare. And it eats someone. But they were wearing Beskar. Someone just got fucking ate! I'm sure the fucking Beskar tastes delicious. I just covered how the Babby Rancor couldn't eat Din because he had Beskar, but now this, you know what, sure, fine, whatever. Don't ask questions, just consume. There's an extended scene in which a few people get bodied and everyone panics and is completely ineffectual.
If this is what Mandalore looked like back in the day, they deserve to lose.
No, but this is current day!
But eventually they remember they have jetpacks and they try to blow it up with the bombs. But the bombs do not do anything. This is an Empire problem. We are told these guys are feared and capable warriors, and anytime they're on screen they suck. And then, I promise you, I'm not lying, they grapple it.
Also, the fish is just... It is just standing there. It does not give a shit. Why? Why? What the fuck is wrong with you? What?
Everybody, let's try... Oh my god.
Oh fuck, we started strong.
They attach themselves to the enormous creature that must surely weigh several hundred tons. Grade A strategy, lads. That will even do something. The Mosasaurus barrel rolls, and yeah, obviously fucks up everyone by doing it. Then Armorer Lady runs past the monster in a really regrettable shot that lets you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that she's not really there because it should hit her. But instead of using her Beskar weapons, which she shouldn't have, mind you, she saves one of the downed Mandalorians. Just a side thing worth noting, but apparently their helmets don't seal or provide any oxygen. That's all fine, by the way, but it's just worth noting that they don't do that because if they did, that's all this man would have had to do, and he wouldn't be in danger. Just remember, the helmets don't do this. Big Chungus hip chucks his child and probably gives him a concussion. Remember how much he must weigh in all of that Beskar. But Mando swoops in and we get the first of many, many of his musical stings. He shoots it once, which doesn't do much, and then missiles one-shots the thing, because apparently they decided that was the exact threshold needed. Sure, I don't care.
It is I have saved you from your bad decisions.
Behold, it is me, the savior of your moronic moves.
But Mando and Armor Lady have the same discussion they've already had. Nay, the same discussion they showed in the fucking recap. You know what they didn't show in the recap? Why the kid is with Mando again. Hey Bob, we have two moments that were important in Book of Boba Fett for Mando. They talked about the helmet, and Grogu went back to Daddy. Which one should we recap? Well, did we talk about the helmet in this one, but not Grogu? Yep, good, recap that one. Brilliant. Also, it's weird how, if he removes the helmet, he's completely gutted, but doesn't have to give up his armor, or weapons, or anything that indicates he's a Mandalorian. Nobody doubts him because he still seems like one. I love how when the police get kicked off the force, they get to keep their badge and everything. Such writing. But Mando speaks of redemption, and Armor Lady says there isn't any because the mines were destroyed. And Mando says, what if they weren't? And that's convincing enough to let him go there. Just, wow. I can't even call this grade school level writing because grade schoolers know better.
They keep talking about their planet like it got fucked, and so apparently they're like, oh yeah, no, we have no idea, the mines are gone. What if the mines are not gone? Well then they're not, well then you could go there, like... That is indeed an option, thank you.
But we get a really unfortunate shot of Grogu just examining these squid-like creatures in hyperspace. So hyperspace isn't like slip space, or a wormhole, or even just traveling really, really fast. It's another plane of existence type thing, where there are giant squids. Great. 10 out of 10, Disney. Didn't think you'd find a new way to ruin hyperspace. I just want to take a second here and address a completely valid complaint that people have against J.J. Abrams, which is that he appreciates visual spectacle over sensible writing or substance. Man, thank goodness he isn't writing this show. We'd have a scene to completely mess with light speed, something we never needed to touch, especially after Rian Johnson already piddled all over it with his movie. Nah, thank goodness Dave and John are doing this. They're good readers. Then Grogu does, he does this.
Okay, so hyperspace...
What is happening?
Hyperspace is a real place, and there are squids in it.
They're treating it like it's the sea?
Where'd he go? How the fuck? Is there a tube that he can, like, fucking... What the
My
fuck?
god.
Oh, we are back and we are strong. Mandalorian, everybody.
But we go to the Mandalorian planet to see, I can't think of his name for the life of me. this guy, Grief, I think his name was, which is telling. And we see the IG-11 unit that committed Aloha Snackbar to help Grogu. While I am not the first to make this observation, I think it's a really good example of how Disney's Star Wars universe feels so empty and lifeless. Every single planet seems to have one place of interest on it. That's also going to come up in a few episodes, believe me. Every planet seems to have only this one city on it. And it makes them all feel interchangeable because no planet or culture seems different from any other. No one appears to have their own business or life off-screen. Like when Luke first visits Mos Eisley, you see a living, breathing city. Everyone has their own business going on. In Mando, it seems like the whole universe just waits for him to show up. Then we see, Grief, right? And he has the dumbest cloak ever on. It's so long that it drags the ground behind him. So the solution? Tiny roller droids behind him that help carry the cloak. Ugh, I am actually in awe of this. He's got droids carrying his cloak.
That's high, man. Wait, does he?
Yeah, look back here.
Oh my god.
These fuckers, that's all they do. Bro, come on.
And they're still letting it drag.
They suck at their jobs and they have one thing they do.
Look at that.
Funny.
What is my life? You carry capes. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Think of this from a writing show point, because this isn't a convenience thing. They designed a too long cloak, and then levitated it through wires or whatever in the back, so two little wheel droids could be carrying it behind him. And they were so proud of that idea, that got through all the writers, designers, executive, and editors, and made it onto our screens. Why? Why would you do this, Disney? But they catch up while Grogu spins himself in a chair with the Force.
Is he using the Force to spin the chair around?
Wait, is he? Do you remember?
My god.
You remember fucking, it was an early episode of the Boo saga? When Vegeta's training with Trunks? And he just sits there like stunned disbelief when Trunks goes Super Saiyan. He's like, when did this legendary ability become a child's plaything?
Did I miss something? When was it that the transformation to the legendary warrior of the Saiyan race was reduced to a child's plaything?
That's how I feel about the fucking Force right now.
Meanwhile, Karga tries to convince Mando to settle down, but Mando isn't interested. Karga explains that Mando should stay behind, and I would like to stop to compare this scene with a really good movie for a second. In Empire Strikes Back, Luke has a vision of his friends in pain. This spurs him to leave and go rescue them. He loves his friends so dearly that even though he respects Ben and Yoda, he can't resist the need to go and rescue them. There is no way that he isn't going to go. He loves his friends after their time together and has rescued everyone time and time again. When you know who Luke is, there is no other reasonable choice for him to make. Likewise, Ben and Yoda want him to stay and complete his training, because they've seen over and over what happens when Jedi are reckless and impatient, and they know the dangers of setting Padawans out into the field of battle before they are ready. They know this in a way Luke cannot. They know the danger Vader presents to him, not just in a threat of turning him to the dark side, but also as his father, a subject that is still a sore spot for Luke. They cannot let him go, just as they cannot stop him. All characters here have reasoning and motivation that makes sense, and so their actions and decisions are something that you understand, even if you don't personally agree. Maybe you think Luke is rushing off and is being noble. Maybe you think it's stupid, but you understand why he does it. Meanwhile, we have this scene when Karga wants Mando to stay, but we don't know why. Maybe they're friends? They act like friends. But outside of helping him at the end of Season 1, I can't remember them really doing anything outside of business. There's been no stakes between them, and I really haven't been told they're friends. It's as if they've been upgraded to friends off-screen. Even in New Hope, Han and Luke grow closer due to fighting, and mutual respect rises between them. I don't know why he wants Mando around, other than the fact that everyone seems to be in limbo while he's not. Meanwhile, Mando wants to leave so he can rejoin Dwayne, but I don't know why he wants that either. I think they covered that the clan helped raise him, but there's never even been implied to be any care or love. He certainly has more of a connection to Grogu than anything else, and he's known the clan a lot longer. But we're told he cares about being a Mandalorian again, so he can't stay, I guess. I mean, he could, because there's also no reason he can't just start his own clan, especially with the Darksaber. But sure, whatever, I guess. But the droid interrupts to inform us that pirates have appeared, and I swear that there's this dramatic turnaround that probably was used for the trailer. Fuck, for all I know it was. I only even knew this series came out because of word of mouth.
I don't believe in ghosts. But when I turned around, I couldn't explain what I was seeing.
But pirates have arrived on Navarro, completely unrelated to, yet at the exact same time as Din Djarin. Sure then. Man, the Disney Galaxy feels so fucking small. Like in A New Hope, some people, who clearly don't have a brain, say, wow, it sure is convenient that Han, Luke, and Obi-Wan turn up right as she's about to be executed. Except it's really not. Leia knew she was about to be captured. She sent on a droid to get help, which is exactly the solo thing R2 focuses on, and then Obi-Wan's single mission, and so if there's any contrivance, it's merely that the Empire decided to kill her so quickly, because they figure, albeit correctly, that she will never give up the rebellion. However, here, Mando is entirely on his own journey. Greef is entirely on his own thing, and the pirates don't have a character or purpose as of yet, so all of this conveniently meet at this exact moment. Also, Greef conveniently sucks at his job because Navarro has no forces or defenses at all. I would normally just be rolling my eyes at this, but no, this is actually a plot point. This is done intentionally, which makes it even dumber, and it will be even dumber later. But pirates are attempting to drink at what used to be a bar and is now a school. Greef points out that this is now a school, and he would be happy to buy them a drink at the new bar, following the Obi-Wan diplomacy here. And it works nearly as well now as it did then. The pirates point out that it was a share of his boss's treasure that built the bar, and they are therefore entitled to drink at the school. From this, I conclude it means that Greef was awarded a share of treasure, and used it to open a bar that later became a school, because if it was stolen, you'd think they'd be talking about that instead. But if it was Greef's share to do with as he saw fit, then why would it matter if it's now a bar, a school, or a smoking pile of rubble? When my boss pays me, he doesn't have a right to choose what goods and services I put that paycheck towards. Oh, well, I pay you for the house that you live in, so it's now my house. No, my work pays for my house, and you just transfer funds around. Like, this is even a part of the Bounty Hunter's Guidebook. The practical motivation. Everyone needs money, right? There's no shame in being well paid for a dangerous job. Maybe you send your pay back home to feed your mate's new litter of kits, or maybe you blow it all on Sarvian brandy. It makes no difference to your guild mates. You made it, you decide how to spend it. Now, granted, by the guidebook, the Pirate Guild may be more of an affinity guild than an official bounty hunters guild, much in the same way Mando is a Mandalorian before being a bounty hunter. Oh, but that's right, the bounty hunters book is now non-canon, right, Kennedy? Because it's not like you have 1,000-page novels or anything to adapt, Disney, you fucks. No, I'm sure that even though this book is no longer canon, despite being huge in depth even on things like innovations and several notable hunters and how they viewed things, Dave and Jon have gone just as deep in their world building, because they're good writers. Honestly, I'm not even sure that Din Djarin is a hunter anymore. His stupid N1 muscle car isn't fitting for him to hunt in at any rate.
Oh, this is something else I bring up. In the episode where he gets this ship. Oh, well, that's not on screen anymore. But remember how it's in like episode 1 or so of The Mandalorian, they show him, he has all his bounties lined up, and they're all carbon frozen?
Uh-huh.
He's still a bounty hunter. Where the fuck is he gonna put people?
Huh.
Kind of a problem.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
No, don't talk about it.
Because he can no longer
Bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
There's no way for him to bring anyone in. Remember how this was the pitch? Oh, look, a Mandalorian bounty hunter. He's as much a bounty hunter as Boba Fett is these days.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession. Don't you agree?
But Pirate Bro insists they drink at the school, barring the obvious fact that there is, hopefully, no alcohol in an elementary school.
I wonder how this goes sideways and Mando has to kill them all.
We drink here.
He just said it's a school, bro. They don't have... Exactly! There's no alcohol in it, I hope.
What, are you gonna get it from the kids?
Like, fucking just goes in and starts shaking down kids. I know one of you fucks has alcohol.
Just a bunch of preschoolers.
It's like a bunch of like fucking little Grogu-sized children.
But they line up for a quick draw because that's the only way people can settle things in this world. I knew what happened with Marshall Man on Tatooine, but that also fit the whole Western aesthetic that permeates pretty much any non-Middle Eastern desert. Here, though, they also settle issues with a quick draw, forgetting that there are like a half dozen pirates and one high magistrate. But I'm sure he's got some form of plot armor. So they draw in a straight Western-style nonsense, and he shoots the pistol out of the pirate's hand. Then the others draw, and Mando and Greef shoot them all down because, yeah, sure, whatever you say.
Oh, okay, now he's involved. Glad they got off 4 shots before any of the pirates got 1 off. That makes sense, right?
Uh-huh.
No.
I just wanted to drink at a school, bro.
I'm gonna go tell my dad.
But the living pirate runs off, and Greef said he needs a marshal. Now there's no world building, so I have no idea how things work. But a later episode will make a great deal out of how Navarro is not part of the New Republic. They proudly declare neutrality. So why would the Republic give them a marshal? The New Republic apparently promotes people because Pilot Bro promoted Gina Carano. Speaking of her, the show actually brings her up as to why they don't have her being used for a marshal.
I need a marshal.
What about Marshal Doom?
After she brought in Moff Gideon, she was recruited by Special Forces.
Uh-huh. Wasn't part of her whole thing that she used to be part of the Republic forces, and she didn't want to anymore because of her history? And that's why her agreeing to be a marshal was such a big deal? Oh, I see. It's so Disney doesn't have to say anything about having fired a strong woman, because they're being bigoted fucks. That's nice.
The new magistrate of a growing city that's just in its, like, baby roots, and he's pissing off the, like, pirate linchpin.
Yeah, you would think that would be a fucking... Yeah, and he just said he doesn't have a marshal, so it's not like he has a fucking police force.
Excellent point, Josh. Why would you have no power or military force and intentionally piss off a pirate warlord? Like, if you're gonna kill him, kill them all. It's hard to have a dick-swinging contest if you're completely unarmed. Mando even brings up that they might as well become part of the New Republic, and Greef scoffs, saying they don't want to bow down to another far-off bureaucracy. I hate this is what Disney has done to the rebellion, as if Leia's whole goal in destroying the Empire was to sit on the throne herself. Thanks, Disney. There's a ton of mileage here in terms of the politics and planetary alignment, but this is not anything that Disney cares to go into. You either sign up with the New Republic, which we see no one do, or you are independent because they suck. Here's the thing about being independent. You actually have to have the resources to stay independent. If you want to be a neutral trade center, that's great, but you need to have the startup to make sure everyone doesn't get killed, or that other people don't just screw you over. And even a Mandalorian marshal isn't going to achieve that.
I'm really trying, man. The world building here... I'm really trying. So, like, they suggested Cara Dune, but she was a Republic marshal. Like, that's what she got recruited into being. Because fucking white-haired pilot dude gave her the badge or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So that was part of the Republic. But so she can't do it because she was recruited by Special Forces, but otherwise he'd be fine with that. But they don't want to bow down to the Republic in the first place for reasons, I guess. The Republic is now tyranny. That's lovely to hear.
Uh-huh.
I hate what Disney's done to the rebellion, man. I really do. Overthrew the Empire and became the Empire. Fucking great.
But Mando says he wants IG-11 back because I swear I'm not making this up. They put up a statue of him in the center town because anyone on Navarro outside of Greef even knew or gave a shit about this one droid. And not just that, they used his parts as part of the statue. Wow, Disney. Didn't he blow himself up? Wasn't his whole purpose in self-destructing that he couldn't allow himself to be captured? Great to see how that worked out. Yeah, my favorite part of our statue is how they mold the concrete around the dead body of the actual person, just in case someone wants to try their hand or necromancy later. Fucking wow. But despite, self-destructing, they actually got a good lot of the body back, so they should be able to repair him, as he is a droid. But Mando says he needs a droid he can trust to explore Mandalore. Who knows why? But Mando never trusts a droid that he doesn't know, so only IG-11 will work. Keep that in mind, because it's not going to matter soon. But time out. Why wouldn't Mando trust a droid? Like they're programmed specifically for purposes, and they don't betray their programming. I know it was a thing at one point due to his history or whatever, but they took care of that. We see that over and over. The closest thing we get is astromechs getting personalities if they go too long without a memory wipe, but that's really no reason not to trust one.
Droid! We are sentient!
No. We don't talk about that. But they tear the body out of the statue and Mando hooks it up to power, which I guess no one tried. Because then what's about to happen would have already happened, and people would know. But the IG-11 body wakes up and remembers its assassination mission. What? Surely if it remembers this, it would somehow remember its new programming, right? Like, that's part of the whole thing, is that it wouldn't hurt the baby. Now it's somehow reverted to its base programming, despite Krill having spoken to wiping those. Obviously, didn't do that great a job, did you? Do we have to deconstruct our own characters now, too? For fuck's sake, Disney. No, Dave and Jon are good writers. They merely subvert your own expectations. But the droid reverts to assassin mode and somehow remembers that it's hunting the baby, and tries to catch him. Mando grabs the baby, and the droid starts crawling on the floor, so Mando can now miss every single shot. Okay, almost every single shot. He's trying to shoot it out!
I'm actually gonna play that back.
I can't, man. I really can't.
Whoa! Miss. What?
One hit. 2 misses.
Did he?
Plus the baby. He eated it.
Oh my god.
His aim was worse than the fucking droids at the end of Boba Fett, man. What the fuck was that?
Man, your accuracy really is on a sliding scale, isn't it?
Seems the tables have turned and that pilot doesn't deserve that. Titan should be returned and running guys changing color.
Mr. Calling is a stormtrooper, Mando. But he hot potatoes the baby to grief, and the protocol droid smashes it with a bust. Did people laugh at this, Jon? Was this supposed to be funny? Because this is just cringe and sad in almost equal parts. This scene is so sad that I honestly had no clue how to write anything about it.
I
can't.
I might have to call it quits.
No, you agreed. You're in this. You're in this to the death of me.
My god.
I need a second.
This is far too cringe. I think I'm actually gonna die.
Oh my gosh, man. I knew it was gonna be bad, right? Because Dave and Jon can't write for shit. I wasn't ready. I'm trying to think of how I write what's wrong with this scene.
I don't. You just let it speak for itself.
I think it just speaks for itself.
But they bring IG-11 back to a bunch of Babu Fricks. Cute little fuckers. And then Grief said that they have to have him back to his own self in no time. Except that's kind of exactly the problem. That he is his old self. He needs very much to not be. But the adorable little marketing opportunities tell Din that the droid is hot slag, except that Mando can apparently not understand these dudes, because every single line requires Grief to bend down and translate.
I don't understand. Do you speak Huttese?
Mando, he said he can't fix it. He says the memory circuit is shot. He said they don't make them anymore. They're very hard to find.
I got it.
Also, why can Mando be in here but Grief can't? How did IG-11 get in there? I get that they could have a small door for themselves, but surely they have a humanized-sized door for larger droids, right? What kind of mechanic doesn't have a garage door for your car? But yeah, a lot of translating later, the Anzillians tell Din that the droid is completely busted. And I hate it, because they're cute and adorable in a blatant ploy that still works on my cold, dead heart.
I don't understand. Do you speak Huttese?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie.
Mando, he said he can't fix it.
These little motherfuckers are kind of funny.
I don't like that I like them. They are cute.
Nope. It broke. Broken.
Can you fix this? Nope. Shit. Broken. No good. Take it back. Oh, Grogu's taking one hostage. No, squeeze.
bad, baby.
But Mando says if he gets a new part, can they still fix it? And they say yes. Few things with this. Why do you need a new part? Why can't you just buy one? Isn't that what manufacturers do? 2, even if you can fix it, that won't bring back the modifications that were done on it, right? 3, why can't you just modify a new IG-11 and basically get the same thing? Because they are droids, remember? 4, why can't you get a droid designed to do what you need it to do? 5, why do you need a droid at all? 6, forget all of the above, because fixing IG-11 will never come up again, and this entire episode was pointless. But Mando takes off in his stupid muscle starship. While he's showing Grogu the enemy indicator, it just so happens to flash red because pirates show up. And how kind of them, I suppose, to broadcast that they are hostile. I mean, I don't know how this ship could possibly tell what's a friend to you and what isn't.
Also, so it says enemy proximity, right?
Uh-huh.
How would it know?
You shut up.
Like, I'm just saying, how the fuck would it know? It's just some unmarked car rolls up on you, you don't know who it is.
Somehow, however, it just knows that they're hostile, so Grogu buckles himself into Daddy's seatbelt. Yeah, I'm sure that's safe and not dangerous to have a massive man in armor being pushed against you at several G's. That's probably fine. But it's time for space pew-pews, and Din is really good at this. But there just so happens to be an asteroid field nearby, so we can do an Empire Strikes Back to it.
Sir, the possibility of successfully navigating an asteroid field is approximately 3,720 to 1.
Never tell me the odds.
Apparently it's fine though, you can just fly through an asteroid field whenever you want. It's fine, there's no dangers there.
Chewie sent you 7-1.
What are you doing? You're not actually going into an asteroid field.
They'd be crazy to follow us, wouldn't they?
And man, these cockpit shots are intense. I'd almost believe these pilots aren't completely stationary. But yeah, during this fight, whoever was in charge of Mando's little musical sting apparently was a bit too hyped on cocaine, because it's played like 8 times in this fight. He flies around an asteroid, sting. He shoots down a guy, sting. He shoots down another one, sting.
I thought he just blew up for like no reason. Oh, they had the sting again. Fuck it.
Are they gonna do it for every kill?
Every kill. Jaws.
There it is again.
But Mando kills all but one of them, and the final pirate baits Mando back to his huge pirate ship. I have no clue why Mando didn't see that before now, or why the proximity radar apparently fell asleep on the job, but some 20 cannons pop out and lock on. I want you to take note of that. The show says that they are locked on, so Mando is surely fucked. Except he uses his boost, and not only does target lock mean nothing, but we get another sting.
Did the target lock mean nothing?
Target lock meant nothing, and we got the sting again. This show's great.
But they visit the Mandalorian castle, and we get Bo-Katan. Just one case of a person who actually has some talent being utterly wasted on a Disney show. Also, it's a small issue, but they will never show you how Grogu gets in or out of this ship, because it doesn't work, and they know it doesn't work, but they can't make it work because they suck at their jobs. He walks in and greets Bo-Katan, because remember her? Remember how you liked her from the Clone Wars, and how she's technically in this show? A little? But Din says he's there to join her, and my first thought is, what? No, you're not. You're there to try to redeem yourself. Through the waters and the mines of Mandalore, and or get a droid that you can trust for the same reason. Joining her is literally nothing whatsoever like your goal. Was this originally somewhere else? Did you move this, Disney? I bet you did, you dumb fucks. You completely ignored that it makes 0 sense for him to say this. I swear everyone who likes this show must enjoy having putty brain. But Bo-Katan says that there's nothing to join because all her force is left. Because she doesn't have the Darksaber. Couple things there. 1, she already didn't have the Darksaber when she was in charge before, so why does her not having it now matter whatsoever? 2, no one else who was with her had the Darksaber either, so they better not have formed their own sect for no reason whatsoever. 3, why can't she just challenge Din? He lets her win, or, because this is Disney, she'll actually win, and claim the Darksaber. Almost like this culture makes no fucking sense. Nah, Dave and Jon are good writers. They don't just bullshit comments towards a culture that has no real world building whatsoever. Whoops, how'd that get in there? But there's a lot of talk about how Mandalorians are splitting into factions, and that's what truly defeated them. And Katie Sackhoff, sorry if I butchered that, she actually gives a good performance in a role that has nothing for her to do. unfortunately. Then episode 1 is over.
Oh, that's it. Fucking.
I see.
Well, I don't know about you, man. Disney saved Star Wars before this.
Yeah, wow-wee. I'm gonna go out and buy a Grogu plushie right now.
I'm trying to think of anything aside from Bo-Katan that I liked in this episode. I'm coming up blank, man.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely coming up blank. I got nothing. Oh yeah, those guys were cute. Those guys were cute.
Oh yeah. The little guys.
I like that you and I both sat there and seriously racked our brain for like 2 minutes.
Episode 2, The Journey to Massive Boar. We open on Tatooine, because all the Mando and Book of Boba Fett hasn't managed to completely ruin everything about this planet already. Hey look, there's even what I think is a speeder race through the city streets. For fuck's sake, Disney. Because it just so happens to be Boonta Eve. Because remember Boonta Eve? Remember the Phantom Menace? Because there's literally no depths Disney won't plunder in the desperate vain hope to even be seen as capable as the worst of Lucas's Star Wars? If this is a speeder race, show me the mopeds following them. Show me, you cowards. But Sketchy Ship Lady is there, the most extra bitch in the galaxy, and Disney just keeps bringing her back under the pretense that she's an acquired taste, I suppose. And I promise I'm not making this up, she has a deal with the Jawas to strip parts off of parked speeders and overcharge people to have the Jawas put them back on, as if she's doing genuine repairs. Just in case you didn't already hate this bitch enough. Oh well, I'm sure she can't get even worse somehow.
Oh, so she's scamming him, I see.
On the speeder. Paint them so they look different. Here you go.
Oh, wait.
Wow, she is a piece of shit.
Straight insurance fraud? Is that what we're doing?
She is a piece of shit.
Wow.
He's like the definition of the bad mechanic. Like, did you actually fucking change my oil?
Not only, no, she's the one that fucking steals your tires and then goes, oh, I just so happen to have 5 tires that'll perfectly suit your ride. Wow, she's a piece of shit. Jawas did this, but like, we're not supposed to like Jawas in the same way. Wow. Way to ruin a character in one line of dialogue, Disney.
Well, Mando lands, and baby Grogu leaps into her arms because he likes her, I guess. That was never really established, but sure, show if you say so. But he has force leapt. This is the first time Mando has seen it, and we get no reaction to this. I know we all knew about it, but Belly seems to react to this, and Mando just takes it as read. Somehow. I don't suppose it would have been nice to see him react to Grogu's mastery of the Force. I mean, for fuck's sake, are we sure that we're sure D&D didn't get their own Star Wars thing? Because this absolutely feels like Season 8 level of crap. Also, it doesn't matter how much I see it, the baby jumping around will never not look absurd. Part of me is glad they didn't CGI it, but the rest of me just acknowledges that the whole concept of this is dumb. But Sketchy Ship Lady asks what he is here for, and even casually asks if he's here to kill Boba Fett.
Oh, were the Hutts back? You taking out Boba Fett?
Setting aside the fact that Mando helped him last time he was here, this is insanely insulting to a once fan-loved character. Yeah, Boba Fett. He's now neither skilled nor loved. You don't like him. You like Mando. In fact, Mando could kill him without even trying. That's how you write good characters. Dave, John, did you guys perhaps get your job from a prize in a cereal box? And if so, could I perhaps persuade you to give it up? Because you completely suck at it. No, wrong mindset. Dave and John are saving Star Wars.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next products.
But Mando asks her to help fix the IG-11 unit, and she asks the Jawas, and they tell her she is shit out of luck. So, what, was that IG-11 model just severely out of date or something? Like, was it just a rust bucket of a hunter, and if so, why would it be allowed to continue hunting? Like, if you're driving around in a beater no one makes parts for anymore, you don't decide to use it for a cross-country road trip. You drive it like it might completely die at any moment, because it might. But she pushes an astromech onto him, even though it's literally falling apart and a total coward. Now, if you watched my Book of Boba Fett review, you might remember that I made a big deal out of her removing Mando's droid port. They made a huge thing out of it. It was a very big deal. And now, literally first chance they got, it's backsies on that. Thanks, man. I'm glad there's even something remotely akin to a plan for this show. I'm glad things make any amount of sense. Otherwise it would be really fucking hard to be invested in anything. Honestly, the thing that most strikes me in people's complete reaction to the series is the utter apathy. No one cares anymore. And they shouldn't. Because this isn't going anywhere. Because you suck at writing. Take the OT, heck, take the prequels for that matter. One major thing that helped them was the strong feeling that things were going places. Every episode, with the possible exception of 6, ends with things that still need to be resolved. Even if the first step was already taken. As episode 1 ends, Anakin still needs to be trained because he's just become under the apprenticeship of Obi-Wan. Episode 2 ends, the Clone Wars have kicked off and the whole Republic is put at risk. Episode 3 ends, and the Empire is born and now Obi-Wan and Yoda need to go into hiding to help bring up Luke and Leia to start the rebellion. Episode 4 ends, the Empire suffered a blow, but it's still going strong. Vader is out there and the rebellion needs to fight. Episode 5, Han is captured. Luke needs to complete his Jedi training. Every time something stopped, we knew exactly what needed to happen next. Even with Episode 6, Luke needs to re-establish the Jedi Order, and Leia and Han need to help build the New Republic. Until Disney, because JJ sucks at his job, as does Ryan, and as I'm hoping I'm proving, do Jon and Dave. But with Mando, things ended in Season 2. Like, ended. And then you unended it because you had no clue what to do without the merch waddling around. We couldn't even see Mando just being a badass bounty hunter more than arguably once. And in that he cut himself on the leg because he sucks at the Darksaber. No, it's fine. Consume the Star Wars. Everything is good. Switch the brain off and melt in a pile of goo. But Mando says he needs a droid for splunking, and then says he needs a droid for testing atmosphere. Two things that are not the same, nor indeed what he previously said that he needed a droid for. Previously, he needed one he could trust, which you do not stock.
Of me and test the atmosphere. Make sure it's safe to breathe.
What? Wait. What? That wasn't what he needed. He needed a droid he trusted.
Right.
So, what do you want about? Why did we change?
Right, he needed it for security, right?
Yeah.
One that he could trust for security.
I assume that's why he needed to be able to trust it. And even if this one could do whatever he needs, he doesn't know it. Like, he shouldn't trust it. That's why she fucking took the droid part out of the fucking Naboo starfighter, right? She was like, oh, well, I know your issue with droids. Fucking hell show.
This R5 astromech is built for adventure.
No, it's...
Of course.
It's an astromech. It's built to help pilot a fucking ship. That's what they do. It's the one thing they do. It's literally their purpose. That's what you should be pitching him. Somebody help him pilot his fucking ship. Not that he needs it, but...
Well, when he can just escape target lock from a fucking battle cruiser.
I can't. Bro, I can't. The dumb is so quickly packed.
After insisting it can do its job well, and that's as good as it's ever been, she then tells him that it's unreliable.
I wouldn't rely too much on this one. Its circuitry is a little fragile.
What? No, why? Stop it. Why does everybody in the universe sniff glue obsessively? Was there some type of mass lobotomy off-screen that we weren't told about? Why is this show constantly contradicting itself of its own volition?
Stop it. I'm actually mad now.
I'm
gonna I can't. Every time I bring up a problem, they then bring up the same problem and then don't fix it.
This one, its circuitry is a little fragile.
What?
Then why did you even sell it to him?
What the fuck were you on about with it's built for adventure? Fuck, what is wrong with you?
I would get out of the fucking ship, punch her in her motherfucking face, and take my money back.
Then comes a scene that's halfway okay, as Mando points out where he grew up, and then he says a stupid line.
A Mandalorian has to understand maps and know their way around. That way, you'll never be lost.
But Mandalore has the thing in its atmosphere, which as you drop through it acts like an EMP. Sure, show, whatever you say. Yes, Luke Scopes died on Dagobah, but I assume that was a massive reaction to the Force, and him charging ahead blindly. It is never explained why Mandalore is this way. It just is. They talk about the Empire bombing it, but that surely wouldn't cause this. I can't believe I'm about to say Exegol was better than this, but it really... well, you know, maybe they're about even. But Mando has a horrible time going through the cloud, and then the second he's through the cloud, everything is beautiful again. And we get his sting. But Mando forces R5 to test the atmosphere.
How can you not analyze the atmosphere from there?
Yeah, there is atmosphere all around us, Mando.
Asking him to take a sample of the ruins below from like a crack in the ground. Is there any reason why?
Any of these? Just take it from here.
I don't know.
Why can't you just ask him what the results are right now?
Go over to that split in the rock and take an air sample of the ruins below.
Why do you need to know what's in the rocks as opposed to what's in the air?
Man, I sure hope they don't reveal later on that droids have some sort of detachable probe that could test atmospheres, because that would be really unfortunate. I'm just gonna spoil something. Things don't work out, and Mando steals his helmet and walks around for a bit. I wonder if there was another time when sealing the helmets might have been useful if somebody couldn't breathe. But aside from that, if he can walk around, there's no atmosphere tester he can use. Like, we have devices with our level of technology right now that can tell us when air is or isn't safe to breathe. But Star Wars, none of that. That's not a thing. I couldn't find anything talking about how atmosphere is determined, but they do have different levels of atmosphere in Star Wars based on if it's safe to breathe, recommended to use an oxygen mask, required to use an oxygen mask, or if it requires a full suit. But honestly, it doesn't matter if there's a pocket device or not, because we know that there is a way to determine how breathable an atmosphere is. Because of Episode 5, when Minox were chewing on the cables, Han knew they needed masks. In all likelihood, this was a Type 2 atmosphere. But they didn't send 3PO to test the atmosphere. There was most likely some type of reading device within the ship. But Mando's uber-advanced N1 muscle ship not only doesn't have that on it, but it can't even have installed it even when he knows he needed something like this. People say Dave is a huge Star Wars nerd, but it really doesn't seem to work out that well. I think he's just doing whatever he wants regardless of if it makes sense. But no, good writers, adjust expectations. But yeah, R5 fails, and Mando tells Grogu to seal himself in the pod, while Mando gets out in case the atmosphere is poison. Good thinking. So, Mando gets out and closes the ship, and then Grogu gets out of the pod. You do realize that if the atmosphere were poison, it would be in the ship now? Yeah? Like, the air doesn't magically fly out of the ship once you open it. You don't realize that, do you? You don't actually see why this is wrong. Of course you don't. But Mando heads into a cave to see their ancient civilization, which is actually not in horrible shape, all things considered. Little work, this could be really nice. Shame that there are no other Mandalorians around to see it, because there must not be any other Mandalorians here, because it would be really, really stupid if they were. You know, just hanging out down here, never built any sort of signal or ship or message for anyone that visited. No reason that I'm mentioning that, don't worry about it. But Mando is then attacked by a bunch of zombie-like beings and gets his ass kicked a little bit before pulling out the Darksaber. And he has gotten worse at it. It's too heavy to use all the time now instead of getting heavier after every swing. You've actually untrained. That's impressive. But he fails at the Darksabering for a while and resorts to using his knife and kicks, which are vastly more effective. And thus raise the point, why fight with the saber at all? Oh sure, train with it, but until you've mastered it or whatever, maybe don't use it in the field. No, whatever, it's fine, be dumb. But Mando finds R5, who must have fallen, because he wasn't bashed into pieces. He just, who knows, honestly. I can't come up with a good answer, and this show doesn't even try. But after they get back to the ship, he has R5 check the toxicity, which remember was the whole reason he wanted a droid in the first place. Why the fuck of why did you send it off into the void if it can do that from the ship?
Bo-Katan was right. Mandalore
What?
is not...
No! She didn't say that. What? No. She said it was poisonous. She said it was nothing but a poisonous, horrible place. She fucking was wrong. Oh, fucking hell.
She wasn't, though. She said it was poisonous. But Mando enters the cave with the merch. Who knows why? I certainly don't. and they descend far, far down, and it forces me to ask, exactly how much of a planet can you mine out before it becomes a structural problem? Exegol has this problem too, because for some reason they built all the destroyers under the ice, because fuck you, it was cool. But like, that planet should have sinkholes in it everywhere, before it all collapses in on itself, because you mined it almost hollow.
I guess we're on our own from here.
What? You were just on your own.
You were always on your own down here.
Yeah, what? What did that line of dialogue even mean?
This is a constant thing in the Mandoverse, but a lot of the runtime is just people walking places. People walking, and replaying what was already said twice before. Sure, pacing is a thing, but there's a difference between pacing and plopping. I can understand why people are frustrated with the Andor show pacing. I was too, but you can't tell me this is much better. And at least Andor's writing is good. Like, don't get me wrong, it's possible to go too far the other way when you have almost no time to breathe. Like, for some people, the 2D Clone Wars could get like that. But man, this is just a slow slog, and I am bored. Never a good thing to hear while watching a show. Incidentally, while scripting this, I'm excited to be catching the theatrical re-releases of both Return of the King and Return of the Jedi. I'm looking forward to really enjoying a good movie, and then my favorite Star Wars movie. I have never been one to deny that Jedi has a few issues in it, but it's still better than the prequels, and blows everything else Disney has done out of the water by a milestone. But Mando finds a Mandalorian helmet, and then music plays as if it's supposed to be a mystery and a strange thing instead of a sorrowful moment. Music is such a huge thing in a series, and while I get you don't have John Williams, you need better. You're Disney, you have the money. But Mando is captured by a huge mechanical spider, with human eye inside of it, which for lack of a better name I will call Henry. But the merch watches as Henry takes Mando away, and Mando does nothing about this. I think he's supposed to be unconscious or drifting out, but he has a mask and never displays any emotion, so I can't tell. Now, I know you suck at using it, but this is surely the time to use the Darksaber and just cut yourself free. One swing. Shouldn't even take that much because it's basically a lightsaber. But for some reason Grogu isn't next to Mando even though he's always next to Mando, so he isn't caught too. But the merch tracks Henry, not using the pod. Your guess is as good as mine as to why. Then something that's a little too close to the Xenomorph crawls out of Henry, because it turns out Henry is the eyeball that can control different droid bodies. I think. The script never really explains this, it's all just left to your imagination basically. But Henry goes to do something, and we see what happens when Grogu has to move quickly.
Thanks, subtitles.
That was very unfortunate right there. This was like in Phasmophobia when you crouch and sprint at the same time.
Don't worry, they eventually start hiding every time he has to do something. But Grogu tries to free his daddy, and in doing so he makes a noise. So Henry is alerted. Mando says to go get Bo-Katan, and now we understand why he met with her, and why Mando actually needed a droid. And that is the problem with a lot of Disney Star Wars, that things only make sense in reverse, or from a meta standpoint. Nothing is driven by character or consequence. Then there's a lot of tense music and shots of Grogu moving fast, even though nothing is chasing him, until one of the zombies challenges him, and then Grogu forces him away. But yeah, Grogu goes and gets Bo-Katan. She sees that it's Mando's muscle ship, and she implies she's either gonna kill him or ban him.
Let's get rid of him once and for all.
But then she sees that it's Grogu and decides to help Mando. Man, consistency is nice. Bo-Katan somehow doesn't lose power when she flies through. Don't know how, maybe she's just that good. But yeah, over what has to have been at least a couple of hours, I'm sure Henry hasn't done whatever it was doing. And R5 turns on the viewing screen. I honestly forgot about this because it affects nothing, and what makes it all the dumber is, how is he seeing this? There is no in-universe camera behind Bo-Katan. This is just dumb. But Bo-Katan has a nice long member berries moment looking over her city. And I get it. Lots of memory and whatnot. But also, Henry might be eating Mando right now. So maybe you eat those member berries later. It's an even greater shame because she really is working hard to give this show something, and there is just no return on her investment. But remember, if somebody's not actually on camera, they're basically in stasis. Time and distance do not matter in this universe. That will get even worse later. But as they head down, she talks to the merch about the Jedi and the Force, and even asks him some questions. No idea why, as he's clearly not able to answer her, but it's like they almost tried, and therefore I guess it deserves attention. Then there's this.
Get the fuck out of here. I like it.
It's the disappointed noise it makes as it leaves that got me.
But she shoots the ceiling to reveal a few of the zombie things, and I actually don't hate it, because it actually makes some sense she would know how to look out for these things. Then one of them, and I urge you to remember these things knock Mando flat on his ass, strikes Bo-Katan and she blocks it with her bracers, and isn't even set stumbling. Doesn't move an inch, in fact. But not just that, she can kick and punch these things into submission, cause she's just that good. No, Dave and Jon don't include woke bullshittery in their show. They're good writers.
Did you think your dad was the only Mandalorian?
What? Where are you getting that from? I don't even know where to start with this. I mean, he's met you and 2 of your old crew before. He basically lives amongst fleets of Mandalorians. He's 50-something, he could have met the others for all we know. Back with Henry, he is either poisoning Mando or draining his blood, take your pick. Man, how nice of Henry to wait until Bo-Katan was on his doorstep. I mean, that must have at least taken a few hours for Grogu to get to the ship, fly to the planet, get her, come back, stop to have this little history moment, and then walk all the way down here. But Henry believes in fair play, I suppose. But Bo-Katan shoots the pump and goes into battle with Henry. Despite her being a crack shot a second ago, she now has Stormtrooper aim, because the show wants to do a thing. Again, so much of this makes sense if you view it in reverse, but Henry knocks her guns away, and she picks up Mando's Darksaber. Now, let's talk the Darksaber for a second, because Bo-Katan did have it before, but she never won it in combat. It was given to her by another Mandalorian powerful Whammon. As such, I can't imagine that it fulfills whatever requirement it deems important. And who knows exactly what those are. Then surrendered it to Gideon, who could somehow use it. Your guess is as good as mine as to how. Then Mando gets it and he sucks dick with it. Can't use it for shit. Then Bo-Katan gets it and instantly destroys Henry with it. Thanks, show. Thanks for emasculating your MC. Always fun to see. Honestly, her journey could have been really interesting here too, but the problem is that we've only ever viewed her story through other people's eyes. We didn't actually follow her. We just know what happened. She took over the Mandalorians after Satine's murder, despite feeling unworthy. She was given the Darksaber, and even though she was apparently a bad leader, the Mandalorians somehow caused the Empire enough issues to make them wipe them all out, and she surrenders to save her people. After several decades, her people leave, and now she is earning the Darksaber back. Those plot points are actually a really compelling story, but good plot points expanded by a pair of idiots will never lead to anything fruitful. And again, we only ever see the journey secondhand. Even if this was a character whose journey I would want to follow, this is yet another case of where it feels it has become a bait-and-switch show. Din Djarin? No, Bo-Katan. That's who you really like. And believe me, her getting the Darksaber is the smallest example of this we're going to get in this season.
Yep, she uses it wonderfully. Of course she does.
She's like flourishing and shit with it.
Yeah, no, because she was really the true fucking, chosen one or whatever.
But Bo-Katan kills Henry, who then runs off. Then there's this whole bit of Mando weakly trying to say, behind you, and Henry is in his other body. Before, the whole xenomorph thing was in the bigger body, so I presumed that it was needed to pilot the bigger body, or whatever. But apparently Henry is made of magic. But Bo-Katan Darksabers all over him because she's, all together now, just that good. And Henry dies. Who knows how. But she has earned the Darksaber, and from here on out, Mando will just be keeping it warm for her. A half-competent show writer would have used this excuse to reveal this here, and maybe have some nice dialogue, but Jon and Dave can't do that.
You were right. Mandalore is not cursed.
She said it was, though. Didn't she say it was cursed, or am I just insane now? But Din says he's going to continue even though his ship is no longer on planet, so who knows how he intends her to leave and stay himself. This is a deserted planet, for now. But there will be no way off of it once she leaves, but he tells her that she can go. But just in case you don't believe that we're here to put down the male characters...
You'd never find them on your own.
Hey kids, let's have a quick history lesson. See, Mandalorians in Legends lore are an uber-proud warrior people. They believe in the thrill of battle, and the more impressive the fight is, the more they appreciate it, even if they lose. Perhaps the best-known example of this is when the Mandalorians challenged the Old Republic. Mandalore the Ultimate was influenced by a Sith Lord, who told him that the Mandalorians would crush the Republic. And they all basically decided, yeah, sounds good, and damn near succeeded. They upended the Republic completely. It was only due to the actions of the Jedi who agreed to fight, despite the ruling of the Council, and it basically because of the actions of Revan that the Republic wasn't wiped out. If it weren't for Revan, the Mandalorians would have won. He bested Mandalore the Ultimate in single combat, and hid his mask away, therefore sending the Mandalorians into scrambles. Revan would go on to travel with one Mandalorian, Canderous Ordo, who not only bore no ill will towards Revan or the Republic, but greatly appreciated him.
We fought against the Republic forces for some time, over the course of many battles. At the start, they were not much of a threat to speak of. But once the Jedi Revan took charge, things began to turn against us. Revan was a genius on the field. The entire Republic had committed its forces behind Revan. The Sith had retreated back to their empire, and there were none else strong enough to challenge us. It looked like the entire galaxy was within our grasp. Yeah, we lost. But there is no shame in it. We lost to the greatest single warrior the Republic has ever known. It was not your ships, or your men, or your vaunted fight for freedom that won this, the final battle of the war. It was by the actions of one person, the Jedi Revan, that you prevailed. It was what we had wanted all along, in a way. We wanted to fight the best, in a battle that would be remembered for centuries. And we did. And Revan won. I don't hold a grudge against Revan, and neither do any of my people. It was the greatest moment of my life to be in that battle. You defeated the Mandalore clans in the war, Revan. You were the only one in the galaxy who could best us. We had never met one like you before, and never since. How can you even ask if I'll follow you? Whatever you're fighting, it will be worthy of my skill. I'm your man until the end, Revan, no matter how this plays out.
Later, one of Revan's lieutenants, the Jedi exile Murtra, would travel with Ordo after he took up the title of Mandalore the Preserver. When she asks him about Revan, Mandalore describes him like a folk legend, full of reverence and respect, because Mandalorians don't hold grudges. They challenge those they think will be a challenge. They have the Spartan thing about them, where battle is glorious, and death in battle will be a glorious death, if anyone can manage to beat them.
Well, let's get something straight here. The Mandalorians basically declared war on the galaxy because they thought their dick was the biggest by far.
No. That's Legends history.
I mean, originally they were just like, we're better than literally everyone, so fuck you all.
Yeah, originally they walked into the locker room and they were like, attention everybody. Look at the size of my dick.
In this, there are some echoes of that a little, if you squint. But in this, Mandalore was freed with the help of Ahsoka, because who else was going to do it? And once the Emperor declared control, the Mandalorians said shant, and the Emperor couldn't conquer them. The Emperor, who had control of the entire galaxy, untold abilities, was building a Death Star, could not conquer them. So he bombed them almost to death, at which point Bo-Katan surrendered to him to keep from being totally wiped out. 1 sounds really, really cool. 1 just leaves me with questions for which there are no answer.
Empire set out to punish us. To wipe away our memory.
It must pain you to see it like this after witnessing its beauty.
Welcome to another issue of the Mandoverse, everyone. Never show what you can tell. We really easily could have just shown Bo-Katan in some emotional pain. Her actress can be quite good. She's even done it before. But instead of showing it, we need Mando to clunkily say it. It's a shame in how all this reminiscing and clunky dialogue, there is no mention of Satine. You know, her sister, Obi-Wan Kenobi's romance partner. No one wants that? Okay, fine. But they travel down to the living waters. But when they get there, Bo-Katan starts reading an inscription. This exists only to talk about the fact that the Mythosaur is a thing. I wonder if it being called a Mythosaur is linked to everyone thinking it doesn't exist anymore. I mean, holy fuck, man. I thought dark side and light side were blunt, but apparently we've spun our wheels for 45 years and gone nowhere, or down depending on the area. And it's telling that the area where Disney is the closest to Lucas is in his naming things, because that was never his strong point. But don't worry about it too much, the Mythosaur won't really come up, at least not in this season. They pretend it does, but it doesn't. Mando strips off his jetpack and gear. I don't know why. As we're about to see, there is really no reason for this. It's actually stupid. We assumed on first watch that Mando had to strip completely to bathe in the waters, but no. So him worrying about the atmosphere was also pointless if he can seal the helmet. But Mando takes a few steps forward and falls into the water. Straight up takes a bad step and just falls in, and sinks like a stone. This is unintentionally hilarious.
It just fucking sinks.
Bye.
Thank God. Let's go home.
I was gonna say at least something. Oh, I guess something very wrong is happening.
Oh, that was a really
I thought he
bad
just like went into
crocodile.
the deep
Yeah,
end
that
or
was
something.
Belly.
Also, Mando somehow falls faster than Bo-Katan can propel herself down, because physics.
Also, how would he have sank that fast? She dove in literally right after him and is using a jetpack to go down.
She beat him down when he beat her down when she jetpacked downward. That makes sense.
But she dives down using her jetpack and manages to rescue Mando yet again. Episode 3, the somewhat good one wrapped in a bad one. Mando wakes up spluttering and coughing, which means to suggest that he swallowed some water. Few things there. How do you swallow water with a helmet that is pressurized? Why did Bo-Katan give zero fucks about this? What happens anytime a Mandalorian has to deal with water? If they can't swim because of the armor, and they can't breathe because fuck your sense of logic, what happens when they drown? Can't exactly give them mouth to mouth. Almost like no one actually thinks about this shit for 2 seconds. But Mando is happy. Well, Mando is. He is about being redeemed, and Bo-Katan conveniently has not taken her helmet off, despite having removed it several times before now. Wonder if there's a reason they're doing that. But Mando scoops up some water from the pool. I think this is what the armorer uses to help mold Beskar. Admittedly, I'm not sure about that. I'll just say that if that is the case, it's problematic for later episodes. Don't get me wrong, they're problematic no matter what. This would just be another log onto that fire. But they spend a couple of minutes talking about if Mando saw anything. Again, this means nothing to the season, so I don't know why they're doing it. But Bo-Katan says that the bombings must have caused seismic activities to have deepened the waters. Now, I'm no expert in planet geography, but if you lower the depth of a pool of water, would the water not be lower? Are you telling me there were 2 pools of water separated by a thin layer of earth? How convenient. Thank you, Mother Nature. But Mando doesn't seem to think anything of this. This is mostly worth pointing out because people were defending Mando slipping and falling as if he were pulled into the pool. But if he were, then this would be the place to say it, and it isn't said. But as they're traveling back, they are attacked by a group of TIE Interceptors. This is yet another example of the showkeepers just keeping everything off screen in limbo. There is no reason the Empire should take this long to attack Bo-Katan. They're attacking her for stealing the Starfighters at the end of Season 2. I think. They say something about an Imperial warlord. But she doesn't have those ships with her, so it's not as if they're tracking those ships or anything. But somehow the TIE Interceptors, and indeed the TIE Bombers that we will see in a minute, just got here. From where?
A fighter that size couldn't get this deep into space on its own.
He must have gotten lost, been part of a convoy or something.
Like, they don't have hyperdrives. They can't get this far out alone. They don't do that. Yet there is not a station or ship they could have arrived from. How the fuck did they get here?
Where'd these guys come from? Like, TIEs don't have hyperdrives on them. They have to come from a station or a Star Destroyer or something.
That's thinking too much.
Apparently, man, the world building, if it could exist, that would be great.
Where'd they come from?
Oh, they are asking.
Warlords. They tend to get mad when you hijack their ships.
Now you tell me.
That doesn't explain where they came from.
Weirdly, they even acknowledge the TIE's presence, but don't answer the questions. I have no clue. None whatsoever. Why Dave and Jon do this. It happens a lot. They repeatedly point out things that do not make sense, only to then not answer them. I can't believe this is written seriously. I refuse to believe that you are just trying to see what you can get away with. Because no one can be this dumb. But she mentions how she pissed off a warlord by stealing their ships. So this may or may not be about Gideon's destroyer. I have no idea.
So why would there be TIE interceptors around Mandalore? So she pissed off some warlord by stealing their ship.
I don't know if she
what would TIE interceptors have to do with that?
But, as Josh so clearly pointed out, if this wasn't about an Imperial theft, why are the Imperials enacting vengeance? And man oh man, how nice of them to wait until Mando was around, because if they'd attacked her while she was alone, or lounging around on her throne, well damn, they would have actually won.
Interceptors are a lot tougher than TIE fighters.
Now granted, I don't think it's ever said in the films, but literally every game that uses the Interceptors makes them an Empire equivalent to an A-Wing. They are faster and better dogfighters than TIE fighters, at the expense of hull integrity. They should be a lot harder to hit, perhaps, but they are certainly not tougher. Bombers are tougher, because they're slower. Mando jumps out and then we once again get the sting. Man, whoever is in charge of that button needs to lay off the fucking caffeine. Mando blows up a ship. Sting. Mando steals a move from Top Gun. Don't know why anyone would do this in space, but Mando's just amazing at flying for no reason. As is Bo-Katan. But yeah, she flies through some cliffs, just like how Han Solo flew through the asteroid. Because, remember Han Solo? But the TIE Interceptors continue to prove they should have never been hired for the job, as they continually miss over and over and over and over and boom! Oh hey, there's Mando. I know it's him because of the sting. But Bo-Katan does a move that should have pulled enough G-forces on her to kill her straight out. But I guess fuck you. Them bombers appear and blow the shit out of her house. Still no clue where they came from.
Wow, the timing is convenient. Thank goodness they didn't come an hour sooner or you'd have been in that. I guess we're not going to ask where the bombers came from either.
My home.
But there's no time to worry about that because a whole fleet's worth of ships are heading straight for them. And maybe they would be in trouble if any of the interceptors felt like hitting anything. But now there's no way they can possibly win. Apparently. I don't know why these fuckers still can't hit anything. But I guess when the enemy can just magically spawn in, a war of attrition will never go in your favor. But from there, we jump to Coruscant. And honestly, I was happy to be somewhere that isn't Tatooine. So let's go, Disney. Ruin something else for me. But we see Dr. Pershing. Remember him? No? He was the scientist who actually cared a little about Baby Yoda back in Season 1. And it wasn't such a huge character, and yet had more character than everybody else put together. But he is speaking in the emptiest building in Coruscant ever.
Why is that building fucking empty?
As he is part of the New Republic's Amnesty Act. What is this? Are we doing some world building? Are we actually tackling an issue that seems reasonable after the fall of the Empire, with people who were just doing their jobs and technically following the law, and now we're trying to fit in with the new people in power? Show, are you actually offering me something compelling and interesting? Are you dying? But Dr. Penpusher is making a plea to be allowed to use his research to help the New Republic, and you know what? That's fair. Obviously, he would be heavily supervised to do so. But after Germany's defeat in World War II, everyone still wanted the research the Nazis had, even though many of the tests themselves were monstrous. So as long as you don't disagree with what he was doing, it makes sense. I'll admit on my first watch of this, I was expecting him to be an obvious traitor, so the scene really didn't grab me. But watching it back, the actor does deliver a solid performance here. Decent acting and a compelling idea. Show, where did you lift this part of the episode from? But he goes over the idea of essentially creating a genetically perfect being, grabbing the best attributes from the hosts, and they're drawing blood from baby Grogu, whose species is really strong in the Force. I wonder what this could be leading up to. Probably something really stupid. But there's a bit of talk outside the main room, which, it takes a hard left.
My apologies. Empire, Rebels, New Republic, I can't keep track.
What the hell, man? What the actual hell?
You can't keep track? What? Are you wasted? I'll tell you how you keep track. One blew up a planet to fear the rest of the galaxy into submission, and one stopped them and blew that thing up. This is so dumb. Disney is practically in love with ambiguity. It is their hot button right now. There is no good or evil. There is no such thing as true light or true dark. Everything is shades of gray. No one is wrong. No, fuck you, Disney. When you blow up a peaceful planet to wave your dick around at the rest of the galaxy, you are wrong.
Yo, Neil, what's the holdup? These rebels ain't gonna slaughter themselves, you know. Greg, do you ever think we're the bad guys?
Throughout this episode, we see a lot of the New Republic system kind of breaking down on the ex-Imperials, and there's no way around this problem. The simplest would be to show a lot of distrust between the old rebels and old Imperials. You could even pit people who fought on opposite sides of the war with one another, and now they're working on the same team, but there's still a lot of pain and bitterness there. But the show doesn't do that. Instead, they just beat down on the ex-imps for no given reasons. Again, this is by far the best we've gotten in all of Mando writing, but it's still very short of something like Andor.
After everything you've been through, you're just so brave.
Oh, I love when characters tell other characters how brave they are. It's not forced or awkward at all. No, this is how people actually speak to each other, like maybe even once. But then, Pen Pusher has an extremely disturbing ride with a droid cappy. This thing is genuinely horrifying. I don't know if they did that on purpose, because you would think Coruscant Clabs could just fly themselves, but man, this thing is scary AF. That is 100 times worse than the Dark Troopers. No reason I'm bringing those things up, don't worry about it. Honestly, here's the shame of this. Everything we just saw was primarily used to do some setup for a really, really dumb bit at the end of the season that I hate and that I will talk about. But we'll get there. This bit, and this episode within an episode, actually functions much better if you remove his whole speech at the beginning. It works better if the New Republic doesn't know what he did for the Empire, and he can't get heard about his hope to work on cloning. But instead, the New Republic hears him, yet has no response to it. He isn't shut down or given questions. It's heard, and then it disappears because the writers couldn't figure out what to do with it. You could even have him deliver it to another person later on if you still want to get that information to the audience. But him delivering it to the New Republic just leaves awkward questions. But we get a scene of him entering Amnesty housing, and he comes upon a group of ex-Imperials who share what bits they miss from the Empire, though they're quick to mention hating the Empire itself. And again, this is actually good. It makes sense when you're going from a basic work release program after being part of a huge military that some things would change, and that certain things they talk about make sense and humanize the characters a lot. They talk about missing the lights of hyperspace, and Pen Pusher misses the common parts of MREs, and well, that is weird. It's still a moment that gives his character so much depth compared to what we normally get. Disney, you must have stolen this from something, because we never get stuff like this. Well, at least not outside of Andor. Why did you suddenly give us people talking about a moment, and talking to each other? This is great. Yes, explosions and risks are a great way of paying off tension, but the other side of that is people talking, and being people. And that's really important. Disney is in a severe drought with this kind of stuff. Look at The Godfather, by comparison. It's a movie that is largely a bunch of powerful men talking to each other, and you know it could turn into full-blown war at any second. But because there's so much build-up and tension at every shot, and every bit of betrayal really sticks with you. The risk of Don Corleone's assassination sits with you so much more, not just because you understand how powerful he is. You know that this would mean passing the family to Sony, and his hot-headed and vengeful nature. You know the people in his territory like and respect him. You know the effect the family will have on the connections the Don has made, and you know who Vito is because we spent time with him. I genuinely do not know or care about Mando. I don't. 3 seasons has given me nothing of his character. He has no character, and so threatening to kill him leaves me bored. I don't care what happens if you threaten to shoot a brick either. But scenes like this are wonderful.
Mostly.
And make me care about these people. My biggest complaint is the naming system, as the New Republic has given these people a letter and a double-digit name, which is strange because they had names, and removing them feels very awkward. Don't sit right. Other than that, it means that at a most there are 2,574 people that the Republic thinks are worth giving amnesty to at the fall of the Empire. I couldn't find a solid number on how many people were in the Empire, but that's gotta be 1 in 1,000 at the least. Talk about a small selection. It's also interesting because here they talk about how certain things were better with the Empire. Wish the Senate knew the difference between the two. But Pen Pusher lays down to go to bed and gets a ring at his door, and oh look, Someone left him his little yellow travel biscuits. And it does make sense that stuff would still be around from the Empire days. I mean, I bet the show isn't smart enough to show them actually repurposing a bunch of Empire tech. But hey, at least it makes sense that tons of uniforms and rations and blasters would still be around. It's something I wish we'd seen more of after the Clone Wars, because there would be tons and tons of clone and especially battle droid belongings everywhere. But Disney didn't care to do anything with that because they have no imagination. But we follow Doc to this day with the Republic, and what is this? We just never follow someone through their daily routine this long. And it's not overpaced. Like, Mando loves to show shots of people just walking and walking and walking, but also they never stay in one place for very long. This is as opposed to that as you can get. Who actually wrote this? This feels like they gave the Andor writers one episode to throw in the middle of an episode. What happened here? Where am I?
One of the people he just met is going to be like a super secret, still loves the Empire person. And that's who just gave him the travel biscuits because they've been hiding tech. And they're going to try and get him to continue the research.
I don't want that to be the case. Because it's boring. But you're probably right.
Well, to jump back to our regularly scheduled dumb, he's not quite right here, but only because the actual answer is even dumber. Okay, back to the episode current. But Doc is growing frustrated with his run-of-the-mill job, achieving and destroying old data. This is understandable because we've seen what he really wants to do. See how simple this is? You gave him a goal and a desire, and now you're giving him obstacles. It's like an outsider wrote this because it's actually not horrible. I mean, I certainly wouldn't rave about it under normal circumstances, and it's like a high school or college student with some real promise and passion wrote this. But we jump to a festival with really off-putting music, and they are eating glowing ice cream. Show, you could have just given them normal food. That is acceptable. You don't need to try and make food futuristic. But in general, this scene is written decently. We see Doc struggling to adjust to life on Coruscant, but reaching out to try and become part of his community of people. It's the dumb stuff they added that makes me roll my eyes at this. It's the ice cream Christmas lights. It's the droid on stilts. Because why is it a show for a droid to display balance and dexterity? But we get a bit of awkward dialogue.
Not much has changed, other than taking down the cogwheels.
Glad to know that the Empire and the Rebels run Coruscant the exact same. Nothing's changed. I'm so happy to heal it.
But as far as Doc's behavior here goes, it's actually pretty good. But Lady ends up pushing him to continue his research.
Following orders blindly is how we got in trouble in the first place.
Oh, I see. Gina Carano tweets it and she gets fired. But you can cram it into your show and there it's acceptable? I'll just spoil this here and tell you that Lady Bitch is actually a psychopath baddie. So, if this line were deliberate, fuck you, Disney. If it was unintentional, then still fuck you, just for different reasons. But this scene is so remarkable for how blunt it is. I guess we only have the one episode, but some subtle build-up really would have been appreciated. There's another scene that's mostly okay.
You want to touch it? Live a little, Doc.
What the fuck was that?
You want to touch it? Was I giving off I want to touch it vibes?
Yeah, he's sitting there having a fucking Revenant moment like, wow, this is really cool. This is a connection. You want to touch it? Listen, if I want to touch the rock, I'll touch the rock. Don't fucking come at me like that.
But yeah, all in all, this scene isn't terrible. By Disney standards, it's actually a masterpiece. And then there's a check-in scene where they monitor how Pen Pusher is doing through a series of questions. Now, I'll say, as somebody who has to see a psychologist regularly, this is shockingly on point. I don't know if that's how they wanted to relate this to people, but it is. But he asks about pursuing his research and the droid says no. Again, pretty good. Show his desire to work, and yet challenge him, give him obstacles. There is a nasty wrench thrown in here when they try and explain Dr. Penpusher's problem away. He wants to use cloning, and the droids inform him that the New Republic has made it illegal. And damn if the little platoon didn't beat me to this punch, that smooth British son of a bitch, but all the same, the problem with this is that it's just a blatant line to try and cover up why cloning isn't already a well-documented practice in the Star Wars universe after the Empire had a literal clone army. There is no reason why the New Republic would completely ban cloning, even for things like organs or health procedures. But we're just told, oh, it's illegal. EU had reasons for cloning to be a lost art by the time of the OT, primarily Old Sheev trying to cover his tracks. But Disney does no such work, and so this throwaway line is the best we got. That will be problematic later. But he approaches Lady Bitch and admits to her that he wants to continue, and she sets him up to rob an old shipyard. And they're like, oh, they actually are repurposing Imperial tech. Good job, show. You actually did something. I will say there's a fair bit of dumb here in breaking the law so much that we're basically still on probation. But they did set him up, and the show does show that he doesn't really want to do this. But once again, we see his increasing struggles with the Republic system, and his relatively simple and small part. Again, this is good. Until...
Can I be honest with you? We are really behind here. Not only do we have the Imperial disposal yards to inventory, but we're still decommissioning the Alliance fleet. I'm sure you understand.
Why? Why are you doing that? The fleet does not change much once it becomes the New Republic. Basically, they just slap a new symbol on the wings and helmets, and the same ships are used. Based on everything we've seen, why are you decommissioning the fleet? Again, it's dumb. Again, it's again.
Help, it's again.
But after being reassured that he's helping the Republic, Doc agrees to do the robbery. So Lady Bitch leads Doc to a train, and it's not horrible, except that Coruscant is huge. I can't imagine any station, nor indeed any train, being this deserted. But halfway through the train journey, a droid stops by asking for tickets, and I don't know where they've been up until now. Like, shouldn't there be an electronic scanner thing just to get on the train? There is a keycard thing you need to scan to enter, but wouldn't you also have to buy a ticket to show a ticket? I don't understand this. I compared these to trains in Japan, and I can't imagine anyone asking for tickets mid-transit there, mostly because you can't move in a Japanese train. They are crammed, quite literally full. The population of Tokyo. 14 million. By contrast, I have heard reported that Coruscant has a population of 1 trillion. Now granted, that's over the entire planet. But you're gonna tell me their trains are this fucking empty? Like, no. I'm not buying it.
Yeah, not on Coruscant, especially.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Tatooine I could get, but not on Coruscant. Okay.
Apparently it's even more than that, by the way. I just looked it up.
Oh, really?
It's 2 trillion.
2 trillion! Nah, empty trains make sense. Any sense. Jeez.
Wowee.
Oh, the world building. It hurts my brain, man. So they hop train cars, and I have to say this because I know it's an old Wild West trope, but why wouldn't these doors auto-lock? Disney, you almost had a good episode. Well, I guess you almost had a good episode instead of a bad one.
It's the end of the train!
Ah, yes, the floor here is made out of floor. So they leap off and somehow completely cancel all momentum, and jump at the exact perfect time to land on this soft thing. They are gonna jump off. That's moving like 800 miles an hour.
What?
If you jump, you will die. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit.
Ah, yes. The video game logic. Ezio can jump off as many buildings as he likes as long as he lands in a haystack.
That's exactly what just happened. Also, all their forward momentum fucking stopped instantly. Oh, physics. They reach an old Star Destroyer, and as cool as it was to see it being decommissioned, a Star Destroyer that's still on a planet has a problem as, why is it on Coruscant? Remember the Fallen Order? Remember how you start off on a whole planet dedicated to scrapping old warships? But here it's just done in the middle of the space equivalent of Montreal, and apparently it's done only one starstrip at a time. And again, as Little Platoon and others have shown in their breakdowns, the OT was always keen on showing us that Star Destroyers were better than what the Rebels had. So why wouldn't the New Republic utilize these ships? I can understand not wanting to drive around in them after, they terrorize the galaxy, but as we will be shown over and over, the New Republic is not in a position to refuse any resources or manpower, yet they do so here for no real reason. But they break in and start wandering the halls, and for once it makes sense to be sneaking around in an old, poorly lit ship.
Ships are all inoperable. No need to guard them.
So initially I called bullshit on this, and it is, but considering she's doing a betray, I think this is just a setup to be a sting, so it actually does kind of work. But after sulking around the ship, they grab lab equipment and it's nice to see a show that isn't perfect, but it's so much better than the rest of the crap that it really is worthy of note. People slam this episode as being boring, and I cannot see why, because it's so much more interesting than the Michael Bay-esque style in the opening to this episode. I don't care about people in fighting until you've made me care. Like, by the end of their little adventure here, it really does make me feel something, because you do feel for Dr. Penpusher in this. But Lady Bitch does the betray. Now, it's not delved into here, so I can only make my best guesses, but I think what they're saying happens is this. Lady Bitch entraps new people in the amnesty program, and lies about it specifically so she can get them on this mind flayer, and, well, we'll get there. But this is a world-shattering issue jumping in. They start to hook Doc up to a mind flayer despite their insistence that it's not dangerous, and even then a Mon Calamari man explains that they aren't the Empire, and I actually do like this bit, because, yeah, obviously the New Republic shouldn't be known as the people who are tyrants, and they wouldn't do something like, oh, I don't know, blow up a planet or anything. Whatever. Show fucks up the rebels all the time, and it's not even done doing it yet. But they start to help Dr. Penpusher, and then Lady Bitch asks to stay and watch because he's her friend. And they allow her to do this unguarded, before she turns the Mind Flayer up all the way to wipe out Dr. Penpusher. Now, even if she is a rat, they allow her to stay and watch over people alone? With no guard? Like, damn, that's just bad guarding. Also, they knew she was in here. They have to know. So she's fucked once they realize that his mind is wiped. How does this machine not have limiters or codes on it to stop someone from doing this if the New Republic doesn't suck dick? There's no way she gets away with this. Hey, we left you alone with the prisoner, and we didn't have it all the way on, yet somehow something has happened to every prisoner you bring in. But they just wanted her to be a traitor and a sadist, and they couldn't think of how else to do it. It really feels like Dave and John wrote the beginning and end of this whole bit, and tried to bring in some Andor-type person in the writing in the middle. I have a slightly cynical thought as I write this. Given that this is literally slotted in the middle of an episode, I would throw up the idea that this actually might be one of the later bits written and filmed for this season, and it was created to emulate Andor, as it wasn't widely watched, but those who did watch it tend to praise the writing, which is a place Mando has always heavily suffered. However, a grim tone does not an Andor make. You need to consider why things are happening, where things are in the universe, what makes things tick. Andor is set under the height of a tyrannical empire. We don't need an introduction to the Empire because A, we're already told they're tyrants, B, we see them all over the place, and C, we have the OT. We've never seen the New Republic, and I find it Last Jedi's levels of assassination on Leia's character if you're going to tell me that she was complicit in setting up another tyrannical government to replace the Empire. Again, The Godfather is a great mob movie, and John Wick is a great action movie with mob in it. But to make the mob in John Wick copy The Godfather with their tone and attitude, it just wouldn't fit. So, yeah. Hope you enjoyed the height of the show. Back to the regular crap. He even keeps on saying that you set me up and they don't think it's worth looking into or following up on.
So when his mind ends up being wiped, is there just not going to be any questions asked?
Yeah, as opposed to just him feeling a little numb or whatever, he's just going to be a fucking vegetable and nobody's going to ask any questions. Especially after the guard vouches that he left her in there by herself.
Yeah, no, nobody's going to ask any questions. It's just going to be accepted that that was fine.
But we're back on Mando, and just so you know it's Mando, we get the sting. Mando is bringing Bo-Katan back to wherever all the Mandalorians are, and he tells her not to remove her helmet. And man, how totally natural it is that she hasn't done it at all since they bathed in the water. Almost like she was going to join them. Well, let's hope she doesn't have to remove her helmet later for no fucking reason. That would be dumb. But they roll up on Big Chungus, and they have the same fucking conversation they have had over and over. It's worth mentioning that about here-ish, Josh noticed solely due to the subtitles that Big Chungus is actually part of the Vizsla clan, and they really never do anything with that. I think it's vaguely mentioned once, and if it weren't for our discussion, I would have totally missed it. This man is part of the clan who led Death Watch, and it's never discussed. They don't use it. But Armorer Lady pours the water into the cauldron, and it reacts like it does when she's forging Beskar, which makes me think it's supposed to be how she does that. But again, I have no clue. And it's also worth mentioning that everyone here accepts this as proof that Mandalore, their homeworld, is not 100% fucked. but no one is excited about it. No one even mentions it. Nah, why would they care about that? But yeah, both people are redeemed, and Bo-Katan joins them because I have no clue why. It's also worth mentioning, not only does this clan have a thing about not removing helmets, but indeed, not removing their helmets is their whole thing. There are apparently no other rules or paths you have to take. You don't have to prove yourself through combat or anything to be part of the clan. Nope, just the helmet thing. Great. Episode 4, Wisa Going Home. We open on Mandalorian, I guess they call training. It's a scene anyway. Perhaps the choicest of these moments is when they're all shooting rockets and blasters at nothing. Absolutely nothing. For all I know, this could be B-roll from the scene where they were fighting the Mosasaurus. But we see Baby Grogu is being tricked by rocks. Why is this a thing? Oh, because Baby Grogu. There's some rather regrettable CGI, and Mando puts Grogu into the training ring. Mando, your baby doesn't move on camera too much because it's awkward as fuck. How do you expect him to fight?
This genuinely feels like he fucking took his kid, like it's those people that bring their kids to like the fake fucking Taekwondo masters, where you can tell the master doesn't know fucking anything about Taekwondo, but he's just like, oh, I offered affordable prices.
Yeah, it's that $20 Taekwondo course is what this is.
Uh-huh.
It's very much what this feels like.
It's like watching a training room of that.
Like, if anyone should be teaching this, it should be Din teaching this. He's obviously the one that's, like, done the most combat-wise.
Well, he's been proven to be fucking incompetent, apparently.
He is too small. I am his ward. Proceed.
You're not wrong, but the show would disagree. But they bring out the training darts, and man oh man, how lucky these also are that they come in Grogu size, considering he's the size of an infant.
Squeeze your fist to launch the darts. You'll be fine.
But Dad, I don't know how to swim. Don't throw me in the pool.
Yeah, the Grogu has literally no combat training.
Ready.
Like, why didn't we see Grogu train with a weapon before now? What if this kid chose fists or swords? Grogu would be fucked.
You just sat there.
Ready. Begin. Point.
Come on, man.
I've seen what you can do. It's okay.
Dad, you have literally not prepped me for this. We haven't had one day of training.
Grogu, I've seen what you can do.
Yeah, once at least. Who knows how you first saw it? Certainly not us. But Grogu jumps in a way that, does not look okay. But they really keep making him do it. And then he scores 3 points all at once, which apparently you're allowed to do. The kid really should have won there, but okay.
Begin.
I knew some dumb shit like this was gonna happen. I fucking knew it.
Winner.
Heck off. No.
I hold myself back. From before that happened, I was gonna be like, he's gonna flip around like a fucking monkey. I knew it. I didn't say it, but I knew it.
Oh my gosh, man, that was so bad. That was way worse than the Yoda fight at the end of episode 2.
But what was this challenge? Apparently they can move, but the kid just didn't. The ref stops after each point until Grogu empties his clip and wins all at once. But the child goes off to sulk, and I swear this is true. He gets swooped up by a bird. I'm not lying, this is the show.
No blasters will kill the child. Follow it with Flayer.
How can you hit the child? Oh man, we took off fast in this one.
This is what they do. The bird outflies the Mandalorians.
Wait. Oh.
Oh, he's out of fuel. Oh, so he's stuck then, isn't he?
Wow, do we ever see them run out of fuel?
I don't
You
think
gotta
so.
walk back.
Oh, and he's out of fuel.
Damn.
Yeah, they gotta
You know how
walk.
much fuel they have? Those.
Man, if only one of them had a ship that's been proven to outfly everything, you dumb fuck.
Oh no, our short-range jetpack. Why didn't he get in his starfighter?
I don't fucking know.
It always gets away.
Oh, so great. This is a repeated problem. And everyone's reaction to this was to do what they always do, which never works. And Bo-Katan is so amazing that she actually thought to fly after the damn thing. I think she just got most of the single brain cell everyone in this universe is forced to share. But she comes back and they organize a hunting party. No idea how everyone else got back after being out of fuel, so who knows.
If we use jetpacks, the beast will hear.
It would kill the child.
How do you know that? How do you know it'll hear you? How do you know it will leave? How do you know it will kill the child? How do you know it hasn't already killed the child? How do you think you know what you think you know? Shoot me, man, this is dumb.
We must avoid explosives and blasters for the safety of the foundling.
Why? Okay, explosives, sure, but why blasters? The bird is fucking huge. As long as you're not shooting near whatever it's holding, I can't imagine there's much risk. There's certainly no less risk than, oh, I don't know, tying its wings up with cables while it's holding them up in the air, for instance.
You are too young to join them.
He has literally been in way more dangerous shit than this.
All in good time.
But the armor uses the forge, and Grogu watches, and we get a lot of not world building. It's rather remarkable. Sparks fly, and it gives Grogu a PTSD flashback. This looks suspiciously different from the version where we briefly saw in Book of Boba Fett. I'm not saying that the writers are absolute hacks who had no plan for this moment. Oh wait, I am saying that. No, Dave and Jon are... But we see 2 clones come in, 2 of the 4 Jedi fall before the clones are killed. Then 2 more clones come in, and the 2 remaining Jedi walk away.
That was your maneuver? Moving slightly to the left?
Well, I mean, we're not in the same place we were, eh? That ought to confuse him.
Yeah, but you hardly did anything. You just started listing lazily to the left. I'm pretty sure they can keep up.
But the 2 Jedi are killed as Grogu gets in an elevator, and I shit you not, the clones get numerous shots off into the elevator from point-blank range. But they neither hit Grogu nor stop the elevator. Damn, that plot armor is thick.
You're telling me they missed?
My god. They just... go. I want to see if they actually killed the first 2. She just walked away like...
Yeah, I thought she was just
you're
like
not
fucking
shot
off.
anymore, therefore I don't have to worry about you anymore.
Yeah, I could be like, oh, they're off screen, now they're dead, I guess. Okay, so I see at least 2. 3, 4. They're still over there!
She just does...
Okay. And then none of them hit Baby Grogu in the elevator there.
Then some guy appears. What? You don't know who some guy is, but he's even got unique Jedi robes, because he's special. So, really, this is the actor who's the guy that did all the work for Jar Jar, and has apparently given multiple interviews talking about how he's gotten a lot of hate because Jar Jar was a stereotype. Right then? Of all the hate I have seen for Jar Jar, and there is a lot of it, none of what I saw was based around his race in our universe or in Star Wars. And none of the hate I ever saw was given at the actor, only at the director, as it should have been. I'm not saying no one has ever slung some shit at him, but, how do I put this tactically? This feels strangely similar to the Moses Ingram racism that mysteriously popped up, and was all that anyone talked about when people discussed her detractors. All I ever saw against her was critiquing again a truly horrible character and her, let's say, particular acting range.
Send out the probes. Do it now.
But he puts down the most intense look on his face.
Wow, the look of intensity for the move he did was not appropriate. That man got a look on his face like shit was about to go down and did 1 slash. Like, if he'd done something really cool, that would have been one thing.
That was definitely a Sith face, not a Jedi face.
And he cuts down troopers and deflects tons of shots that definitely weren't choreographed in any way, because he's just so cool. But he hops in a speeder and flies off with Grogu. Oh hey, Grogu escaped and no civilians on Coruscant were harmed during the... Oh my goodness. Yeah, clones are just firing off multiple shots in an incredibly densely packed area.
Wait, did they just shoot?
This is gonna get a little rough.
Yeah, they just blasted a building, I think.
They're shooting in a highly populated area.
Yeah.
They are just killing people. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, well, that's what it's just this fucking blast of the building.
Like, fuck, man, war crimes are cringing right now. Oh my gosh!
Oh no.
Okay, so the clones kill multiple civilians, and I suppose Palpatine just covered all this up before his big speech in Episode 3. No one questioned this. But he manages to, somehow, dodge a train in a tunnel. How nice for you. Then he speeds past the rock we saw last episode because the rock means something. The engine appears to magically repair itself, and they fly off again. But then they land.
Okay, momentum should definitely have them careening way off the side of that small platform.
Yep.
And they start prepping for Grogu to leave, but the clones show up and start gunning down the casual guards before chasing down and shooting at a senator's ship. Keep in mind here, at this point the senator of Naboo should be Padme, but we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, congratulations, Jedi Jar Jar. At least this character wasn't actively annoying, even if it caused several civilian deaths. But the armorer is busy forging a plate of Beskar to go on the front of Grogu's Beskar chain shirt. Why? I thought Beskar was like mithril, where it's almost impossible to penetrate. It's not like regular chainmail that you can cut or pierce through. This plate will literally only hinder him. You suck at your job. Honestly, none of this really seems to matter, as the plate, and indeed the chainmail shirt, serve no purpose thus far, and will serve no purpose from here on out. At least not in this season. Turn your brain off, it's fine. But back to the bird tracking.
Ah yes, we've gotten to the walking around part of the episode. Vitally important in every Mando episode to have a walking around moment.
Seriously, this show is so much walking. But they make camp at the base of the mountain, and this is no joke. The Mandalorians all have to walk away from each other while they remove their helmets to eat. But as leader, Bo-Katan is allowed to stay by the fire while she eats. I don't know how the others know when she's done and they're allowed to return. Almost like they didn't think of this at all. But they can't fly up because the jetpacks will alert the bird, apparently. So they Batman and Robin their way up. Anyhow, as they reach the top, Din finds heat signatures. So Chungus goes to rescue his son. You don't think this was a good thing to tell us before now? You could have mentioned this back in episode 1. You could have mentioned this back when he was kidnapped. You could have mentioned this in so many places. What the fuck is wrong with you? Why do you purposely suck dick? Also, how does Big Chungus not know that his son isn't like twice his size? You look like a fridge with a bowling ball on top of it, man. No one's bigger than you. But Mama Bird starts to regurgitate the son, who not only isn't dead, he's totally fine. Wait.
They did not just do that. I actually can't anymore.
Dave and John, I have to ask, but guys, I have to ask, why do you think the mama bird regurgitates the food for the baby birds? What purpose do you think that serves? Because he is still very much alive.
And totally unfazed.
He hasn't been chewed up. He's been fine.
Yeah, acid hasn't worked its way, through holes in his body and shit.
No, Mama Bird's stomach is just like a storage pouch, It doesn't actually fucking soften up the food for the babies.
So in a display of fatherly love, Big Chungus launches himself at the mom, who I think accidentally drops the son in the perfect time for Chungus to fly into her mouth instead. Then she picks up the son and Big Chungus and flies away. There was so much dumb in that so fast, I am sorry.
Oh my gosh. What?
You have to be fucking kidding me.
What the fuck? Oh my gosh, this show got so much worse in like 30 seconds!
While giving chase, Bo-Katan gets hit by the thing, and apparently her armor was held in place with scotch tape because she falls, losing a piece of it. Also worth mentioning that now the Mandalorians can keep up and even overtake the bird, 'cause fuck you. Then they start trying to tie the bird's wings with cables. I guess we're not concerned about Big Chungus or Sun taking fall damage from a massive fucking fall. Sure, show, whatever you say. But Bo-Katan grapples the thing and should black out from being whipped around, but she somehow isn't, and then she frees Big Chungus. Then Din flies at the bird and I think stabs it in the foot to free the Sun? It's really hard to tell. The camera work here is garbage. Sting. Then the bird falls and the Mosasaurus eats it. Man, Jurassic Park in here for real.
There's always a bigger fish.
But they return triumphantly, except Bo-Katan has a little surprise for you. How did they get in there? How did she get them down from the nest? Why did she grab them? What are the Mandalorians going to do with them? Is there going to be any payoff to these things? Will any episode not totally suck from here on out? Who needs a break from this? I'll tell you that one right now. Me! Episode 5, You Wouldn't Steal Plot. We open up on Navarro, and a regrettable shot shows you the now empty IG-11 statue, reminding everyone of how incredibly dumb that whole choice was. Say what you will about Disney, I'm certainly having a field day, but they are never afraid to openly commit to a bad move.
But at least they never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity.
But we see Grief, sadly without the tiny wheel droids that hold up his cape, responding to a strange clamoring of people in the street. Well, 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 if it isn't the consequences of my own actions. But he recognizes the ship, I think, and he hails the captain whose name I don't remember, and is henceforth called Paul. Paul spouts out a bunch about how Grief slighted him, and the mouth movements really don't come across well. It is almost Godzilla dub levels of bad, which really is a shame, because I want to praise them for using practical effects, but the mouth is just cartoonish.
The voice sounds like Grief Karga.
This looks terrible.
Yeah, that lip syncing did not do good.
All I see before me is a pampered nobleman dressed for the pomp of his wedding feast.
Ooh, it looks like a fucking Japanese. It looks like the old Godzilla
It really
movies.
does. It really does. I was just like, what the fuck?
But Paul claims that Grief initiated the attack.
On your planet.
What? You and I remember those events very differently, sir. I remember he pulled a gun, and then I shot him.
He shot first. Well, now I will shoot first.
What is that? What the fuck is that? What the hell, man? What the actual hell?
What the steaming cross-eyed fuck is this?
What words did you just say?
Why doesn't this world make sense?
I love how in Disney Star Wars, no two lines follow any... Like, he's like, oh, well, you shot first. Actually, he shot first. Well, now I will shoot first. It's like, so you're agreeing with what disproved your earlier argument, but you're not gonna fucking...
What the actual shit is this? Who wrote this needs to be clipped about the head? Who doesn't understand basic fucking English?
You gotta be kidding me, do you think if we can make our shit just be alone?
Your men acted out of turn. Well, as vengeance, I shall now act out of turn. Do you hear how stupid this is? This is elementary school levels of dumb. Like, did an AI write this show? Because if it did, the program is buggy and needs to be recoded. I can't believe this actually got passed. And especially that people are defending it.
Well, wait, he shot first? Well, I'm gonna shoot first again.
Well, he stuck his own penis in the hornet's nest. Well, now I will stick my penis in the hornet's nest.
Navarro is now under the protection of the New Republic.
Since when?
Didn't you just denounce it?
Yeah, we just saw the recap. Bullshit. No, it's not.
The last thing we want to do is bow down to a far-out bureaucracy.
No, we're not part of your empire. Oh, shit, but we are under your protection, right? You got our backs? Like...
Man, if only there was another situation where people were suddenly reversing anything and everything they'd been touting for years. I just... no clean parallel to draw here. Like, remember when you had people that were touting theories that Velma was a right-wing psyop? I'm not sure that this isn't. I don't know who it is, but one person/computer on the writing team has to be taking the piss. But Paul says bet, and we begin to see him attacking the city, and man oh man, who would have guessed that attacking a group of pirates and challenging them despite having no fucking defenses would have been a bad thing. I mean, you don't even have old Bernie with his bullet out there. You have nothing. Zilch. Nada. Zip. It would have been a great time to call for help from the other cities and settlements, except that there are none on Navarro, because every planet only has one fucking city in Disney Star Wars, because they're fucking talentless hacks who can't tell their IQ from their fucking audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. The biggest shame is that there is here, as there is in so many places in Disney Star Wars, a place with a really interesting and engaging story to tell on a small scale. Disney's biggest issue is that everything has to be endgame now. There is no small threat, only galaxy-level threats. And the brain can't care for that long. It doesn't like it. Small-scale stories are actually okay to do, because they are why we care about who we're seeing. Look at the first Avengers film. Remember when you were good? Let's be honest and say that we really didn't care that much about Hulk or Hawkeye. At least not as much as the others. Because we'd at least gotten some time with the others. I say this as somebody who praises this version of Bruce Banner, by the way, because he's great.
Just in case you needed to kill me, but you can't. I know, I tried. I got low. I didn't see an end, so I put a bullet in my mouth, and the other guy spit it out. So I moved on. I focused on helping other people. I was good, until you dragged me back into this freak show, and put everyone here at risk.
But we especially cared about Cap, Tony, Thor, and even Nat because we'd gotten to see something of them in smaller scale works that allowed them to be a struggler for the character. Doctor Strange is now nothing more than a name on the door, even in his own movie. The story that was waiting to be told here was Grief trying to keep his planet independent through all the struggles. We need to see him struggling and managing his resources, trying to decide who we can trust, setting up defenses, and gaining friendships and antagonists throughout his time in charge. Then a moment like this would mean something. Then I would care about what's happening. But we don't know this character. We don't know anyone on Navarro. So this moment has all the emotional weight of a castrated gnat landing on you.
They could make Karga just a big dick motherfucker. He could be like the Nick Fury of this planet.
He should be. That would make me interested in his storyline.
Yeah.
I don't give two shits about this character.
No.
We've spent 3 seasons with Mando. I don't feel like I could tell you a single facet of his personality.
No. Or how he's really grown at all.
I mean, after watching, like, A New Hope, I could tell you instantly who Han Solo was, who Luke was, who Leia was. I could tell you who 3PO and R2-D2 were. I don't feel like I know any character in this show.
Like, unironically, Josh and I were making jokes because this moment meant nothing to us. But Droid says that Grief's escape pod is waiting, and correct me here if I'm wrong, but that's not how escape pods escape pod. They are launched from a ship to land on a nearby planet or moon. You surely can't launch a pod from a planet into, I guess, the depths of space? Because there wasn't a nearby ship or anything he could have gone to. Why wouldn't you just say his emergency ship is ready or something? Like, why can anyone defend this? But Grief gives an evacuation order, despite the full-blown panic in the streets. Yeah, no shit, evacuate. Everything's blowing up. No one here is just hanging out saying, yeah, this is fine. I wish I could think of an example where someone was alerting their city, and it was not only a brave move, but also was required so the people could escape. Drawing a blank. But people all flee in one huge group to the lava flats, because that's safe. And clearly Paul fell in love with Book of Boba Fett because his cannons all have horrible aim. They just keep blowing up the same buildings that they've already blown up. I wish I could think of a movie where an attack on civilians and the threat that proposed was done really well.
Crops can be resown. Homes rebuilt.
They do not come to destroy Rohan's crops or villages. They come to destroy his people, down to the last child.
What would you have me do? Look at my men. The courage hangs by a thread.
But the title card does, and suddenly Y-Wing. And the subtitles helpfully point out we are getting some psychedelic rock music, something I have never associated with Star Wars, or spaghetti westerns. But who cares? But it's time for us to ruin Rebel pilots. Great. Disney, I know I rag on you, but you don't actually have to single me out like this. I love the Rebel pilots, and you're gonna make them suck dick, because that's the only thing you can do with anything that you touch.
Come on, man, I like the pilots. Don't ruin the pilots. Oh. Okay.
You thought they were safe? Say goodbye.
That's the end of the episode. I don't know what to tell you. That's unfortunate that I just had that very... I've never wanted to walk away from an episode so badly. I'm actually hurting right now.
And nothing bad happened.
Nothing in the end. That was it.
But we see what happens to be a type of pilot recreational area, perhaps some type of bar for their off hours. But when they're still supposed to be on base or on call or whatever, it's not really important. It would just be nice to know how things work, but that's fine. We see a group of people playing pool, because thinking makes John and Dave's head change funny colors. You could so easily put up a hologram of some game or other, that's not really difficult at all. But instead we're playing what appears to be some bastard offspring of air hockey and shuffleboard. But we see old pilot dude, who I don't believe ever got a name, so henceforth he is Devin. Devin is even wearing some really cool flight jacket, and it says, man, I actually like the Rebel pilots. My favorite jacket is one that I patched myself with patches because I love the look of the flight jackets, and it's actually a really cool idea, and I can't overstate how much I actually love these guys. My Star Wars fanfic that I'm hoping to finish is centered around a small group of Squadron Rebel pilots because I actually like these guys, and there's a lot of story there to tell, and we're about to ruin them. I'm sorry, Devin. But Devin sees pirates have pirated Navarro. I have no idea when Grief would have recorded this message. Apparently he thought, hey, my people are dying, here's a good time to make a quick FaceTime call. Then again, it wasn't like there was any defenses he could engage, so I suppose begging for help is the next best move.
Disney does not give a fuck about distance in Star Wars. The space is really fucking big. It's gonna take them time to get there. Even with light speed. Like, I mean, from like Tatooine to Alderaan took a few hours, I believe. How the fuck? What is he gonna do? Like...
But yeah, Disney, he's on another planet. It would take him hours to get to their planet, even with hyperspace. Why is everything 2 minutes apart from each other in the Disney universe? If he's this fucking close, their planet should be making out.
Okay, so Navarro's fucked. They are currently under annihilation. This can't be like in a couple of weeks we'll send a unit.
Yeah, this could be weeks later. Months, maybe.
I don't know how long it took for them to get here,
or
but
days?
The assault is over. It's done.
But what is Devin gonna do? Like, let's be charitable here and say that his squadron is waiting in the wings for active duty, and that their ships are kept primed and ready, which would make no sense, but let's just pretend. Devin's squad could charitably be up in 5 minutes, and so what? It would still take him hours to get there. Remember I mentioned that Disney treats everything off screen as if it's in stasis? It's getting worse. But Grief mentions that Devin once told Grief he could reach out to the New Republic if he was ever having trouble, only to see that Devin is apparently full of shit.
Too bad. I really thought Navarro was gonna make it.
Oh wow, it's a cameo from fucking Rebels. Woo. I even care. Nice to see they brought this guy in to be a moron, though. How is a planet with 0 defenses run by an idiot ever going to make it? And why is that too bad? Oh, I see, because you have no character here. Because we're just expected to like you because of Rebels. Well, too bad, I didn't watch it, so you mean nothing.
They're swamped. We'll never get an answer in time.
Then I'm just gonna have to go there and talk to them myself. They can't ignore me face to face.
Few things here. 1, he's not gonna get there in time either, so it really doesn't matter. 2, if they're swamped, why do pilots have time to just lounge around? Pilots seem important to the Space Navy. 3, even if piloting isn't needed for some reason, you'd think they'd have mandatory overtime for anyone employed by the New Republic. But these people seem to just be lounging around after a 9 to 5. 4, if the New Republic is so busy, why isn't somebody like Devin given the right to make calls about this kind of stuff? Geez, New Republic can't wipe their ass without submitting a form, apparently. 5, even if all of that was somehow excusable, fuck you, Disney, for doing this to the Rebel Alliance. People like Devin didn't fight an evil empire just for this shit to be given vague lip service. Again, this could be a great show in its own right, help the old clash with the new, the old rebel warriors not knowing how to handle a proper government, but we get no time with this sort of thing. Bonus action, Disney, if you gave me more time with this system and Devin's place in it, I'd actually like him as a character a lot more.
They can't ignore me face to face.
So, you'll never get an answer by the phone in time, but you'll get a quicker answer if you fly all the way there. And it is a long trip because for some reason these guys are stationed in the space boonies. The show tells us this. So yeah, distance is just not a thing in Star Wars anymore. Are we sure that we're sure that D&D didn't get their own Star Wars movies? Because this is definitely like Season 8. But Devin rolls in looking fly as fuck in his jacket. There's actually a funny scene here. A quick bit that actually achieves what it wants to achieve, and therefore deserves special mention.
No. Do not put any more stuff on that part of the desk. That's my work area.
Okay, that actually was pretty fucking funny. That was actually pretty fucking funny. Because I can just picture the droid. No. Don't put anything else there.
No, cat, do not knock that glass of water off the table.
Exactly what it was.
But Devin requests permission to do his job and briefly explains the situation. I'm glad this man is not so busy that he can see Devin immediately and gives him his full attention. Why can he not pick up the phone again? He watches the message and Lady Bitch interrupts to take a lunch order. I'm not kidding. That's her excuse. She uses this to barge in on this meeting. Now again, to jump ahead, she is secretly working for Gideon. And so she wants to stop Devin from helping Navarro. But I don't know why. It's not like the Empire forces have any interest whatsoever in it. The pirates and the imps don't appear to be allies. If the pirates were blown up, it would actually only help the Imperials. So why does she stick her stupid haircut into this conversation? Devin points out that they can't leave Navarro defenseless because he used to be a rebel pilot, and they haven't had a chance to decommission his balls yet. Good for you, Devin.
I'm requesting authorization and backup for dealing with pirates on Navarro, sir.
But we have a backlog of requests from member worlds that have priority.
Then why is no one working? No wonder you have a backlog. You have a work ethic that makes a union construction team seem like slave labor. Also, nice to hear it wouldn't matter because Navarro was in a member world.
No. Member
worlds? What do they do? Do they have to subscribe to Disney Plus?
Okay, I'll give you props. That was pretty fucking funny.
What the fuck?
You're telling me even the planets who are part of the New Republic, because I assume that's what they mean by member planets, they currently have a backlog of requests from all your pilots who can still take off time. What?
Right. They're all just chilling in there doing nothing, but you're so busy you can't help them?
Navarro has reported accounts of stormtroopers in the streets and TIE fighters openly flying above.
What? No, they haven't. Not even a little bit. You know how we know? Because John Bologna was so helpfully reminding us that Grogu spent 2 years training with Luke, and everything with Gideon was at least a couple of years before that. So maybe 3 years ago they had reports, but you would know they would clear a lot of that shit up by now, right? Like, maybe a marshal from Navarro that helped arrest Gideon, and then was recruited by Special Forces into this very same Republic order might have cleared a lot of this up. Oh no, the shitty writing is collapsing in on itself. We reach the black hole of talentless hacks that suck in viewers and empty out their wallets with offerings of nothing in return in substance. Only brain-dead masochists are okay in this type of situations. Damn you. Sorry, lost my cool there for a minute. But Devin makes a point that Gideon never made it to trial, trying to point out that things are fucked up and he's told he's in the wrong office. Ah. So the New Republic is the DMV. Great. That's lovely to hear. This man gives so few fucks he wouldn't even send it on up the chain, apparently. Devin has a back and forth with Lady Bitch, and it's frustrating because this is an opportunity for a really good story.
This isn't a rebellion anymore.
Perhaps the leaders of Navarro need to understand why becoming a Republic signatory is valuable.
By letting them suffer. Sounds like a rather imperial way of thinking.
Captain, you're out of line.
It's fine. I'm used to that kind of talk. But from experience, it often takes a new perspective before one is able to see the light.
You and your sort didn't see the light. You were captured.
No. I was liberated.
This is actually a thing in the story that I mentioned I was writing. An old rebel pilot has to work alongside an Imperial officer who surrendered shortly after the Battle of Endor, and the rebel pilot does not trust him. He constantly has to try to keep the Imperial in check. This show falls short of that because we spend no time with these two. This relationship could be a great movie, but no one has enough of a character for a movie, and Disney doesn't know how to write anymore, and so they've already spoiled Lady Bitch by making her a psychopath that can wipe out someone's minds and somehow not receive punishment. We will literally never find out what happened with that, by the way. The show doesn't even appear to remember that it happened. But they tell Devin he's shit out of luck, and Devin basically leaves telling them to stop sitting on their thumbs. The badass movement here would be to take his own squadron and go anyway and blow the fuck out of the pirates. It would still have massive time problems and cuck the New Republic, but at least a pilot would be allowed to be cool. But this show doesn't do that. It wanted a moment, and it doesn't know how else to get out of it. So Devin flies there, and the Mandalorians are all just hanging out. They question how he found them, rightly so, but apparently it's because R5 used to be a rebellion droid. This is licking paint chip, drinking straight turpentine, pissing on a cop so paint-huffingly stupid that I cannot with this. My brain refuses. Why do the rebels have a cowardly astromech? Why wouldn't you wipe the astromech's mind to reset it if it was cowardly? Why would you retire an astromech? Why wouldn't you wipe an astromech's mind if you were going to retire it? Seems like military knowledge could be an issue there. Why would you leave a decommissioned droid with the ability to contact their own pilot? Why did R5 contact Devin? What are the chances that the unrelated droid Mando picked up, even though he didn't want it, could be an ex-rebel droid with all his memories intact? How did R5 even contact Devin? Why would Devin respond? Why did no Mandalorian give two shit about a droid broadcasting their location? Where is this even in the first place? How long does it take Devin to get here? How did all the other Mandalorians get here if they have no ships? Where is this place again? How long does it take them to get to Navarro? Why does Devin assume that they're going to go? How much of Navarro can possibly be left at this point? Time? How many was that? 17. All from one scene. Great job, Disney, you dumbasses. This script is hemorrhaging logic at a record rate, I swear. Speaking of Navarro, grief leads everyone to a hill. This hill will surely be a place that no one can find them. Unless you know they look over there. If only this entire planet had one other settlement on it. But grief assures them that help will arrive soon, despite not knowing it's going to arrive at all. And despite there being no way that it can arrive soon because they have to transport the Board of Space. But Devin leaves the warning and then leaves without giving us any more character, which is a shame because I would actually like to like him. But yes, time is of the essence. Grief could be killed at any second. So what's next? An actual fireplace council meeting, I kid you not. Mando has to plead his case to the rest of his sect. Even better, the fucking forging hammer is the talking stick.
What, is that their version of the talking stick?
It is! I didn't even fucking...
I wish I was making this shit up.
You're not, though. You're 100% right. That's what it is.
The talking stick.
Talking stick, yeah. I have the talking. I have the talking.
Oh my god, is that actually the talking hammer?
It is the talking. Oh my god, it is. It's like a preschool.
You guys
That's
are so fucking pathetic.
Fitting.
I do.
Oh my god, you fucking kidding me?
I genuinely could not stop giggling at this because it made it all the funnier that they are a bunch of fucking babies. If they were the Legend Mandalorians, they wouldn't need this shit at all. I think you brought up the point a few episodes ago about Legend Mandalorians. Because Legend Mandalorians would be like, somebody says their dick is bigger than ours? Oh, no. No, that's not.
Suit up, Jerry.
Suit up, we're going in.
Someone said their dick was bigger than yours? Whose car are we taking, Mando?
That's exactly what it would be. Well, fuck, man. They had that moment in, again, I think it was Halo 3, where the fucking elites are talking to each other like, Commander, their ships outnumber ours 3-1. Good, then it is an even fight. Like, that was old school Mandalorians, so they were like, fuck, man. Let's go in there and fuck shit up.
And they didn't give a shit who it was. Jedi, Sith, did not matter.
Anybody.
But one of the things he points out is that Navarro could be a home for them, where they could flourish, despite the fact that they are flourishing pretty damn well as it is. Additionally, wasn't the issue with them staying here that people know where it is? Not only were you known to be on Navarro, people would definitely know you were on Navarro if you rescue them from pirates. But yeah, I guess Navarro could be their new home. Just keep that in mind. But Big Chungus, who it turns out is voiced by Jon Feverbrain himself, takes the talking stick. Because the Mandalorians are children. But because Mando helped rescue his son, Big Chungus says they go. Honestly, this is the place where saying this is the way would have worked, because the Mandalorians just love the thrill of a great fight. But apparently this is the way is related to companionship or something. Who knows? Can we get some fucking world building on the way or not? Okay, that's cool. But Bo-Katan gives the instructions that they'll go in as a sneaky military unit, which is not Mandalorian. Ambush, maybe, but not really sneak. We see Navarro and they fucked everything on the second floor and up specifically. Apparently floor 1 was left as is. But this place has become a desperate wildland. People are drinking in the school and Astromech is humping a rock. It's just chaos. But there is some Olden serving food because they happen to kick the tray and be a dick. Why is he here? Why are they throwing their own food around? Who knows? Not me. Not Disney, that's for sure. But Mando flies overhead. I know it's him because of the sting. He does a hit and run and they all jump into the guns. And as Mando fly by, they explode. I have no clue why, because he clearly didn't shoot them. I can't make heads or tails of what happened, to be honest. So I had to go back, and by slowing it way down, you can see the bolts break all physics to shoot the gunners and explode. I have no clue why you did this. You could have just had them blast in from off screen and then have Mando fly by. But instead, we actually see Mando pass the guns. They show him passing the guns. And then he's level with them and he curves the bullet to somehow hit them. Like, did an AI edit this too? But they send out the snub fighters and we see Mando dogfight. I know it's him because of the sting. But then a bunch of Mandalorians drop in and for like 10 seconds we get something cool as they straight up execute a bunch of pirates. I wish the whole siege was like this, but it won't be. But as we watch, Mando is basically taking down this flagship all by himself. Because they suck at their job. But then Katana shoots them once and takes out an engine. Because I guess they have no shields. That makes sense. But we see more fighting turn into a full-on stormtrooper aim. Even when somebody gets the drop on the Mandalorians, they still miss.
We're boxed in.
Damn, if only you had a way of ascending quickly. If only there was some type of tool strapped to your back that would allow you to fly out of a boxed situation. If only, if only. Big Chungus lands and it's gotta be one of the most pew-pews to ever pew-pew. And it sounds like it too. I've heard super soakers that have a better punch than this thing. But the pirates are all too drunk to aim, which is a little weird given that everyone's wearing Beskar so you could just show a few armor hits, but nah, just good old stormtrooper aim is fine, I guess. But the pirates load up a super cannon, and maybe kill the Mandalorian. Oh no, Rando, I'll remember you always. Meanwhile, everyone in the sky continues to miss everything.
Engaging the gauntlet.
I have no clue what this is or what it means because nothing happens. Anyway, the pirates are seriously considering maybe firing a warning shot at Bo-Katan, and then Mando hits one of them.
Another engine down, and shields are failing!
Do your shields not protect the engines? For fuck's sake, this is almost as dumb as TLJ's shield not protecting the bridge. Almost. Don't worry, Ryan. You're still the king of suck. These guys are just runner-ups. But then it's hammer time, and everyone is deaf because they don't hear her taking people out with her talking stick. But they run the pirates out of town, and the townspeople run up on them despite having, like, one gun. You dumbasses. Like, they got sticks and shit. You suck at pirating. But they tell the captain that the ship is going down, and he continues to destroy the already destroyed buildings.
He's targeting the townspeople.
No, he's not. Either that or he's drunk. But they take out the ship and it blows up over the hill, conveniently not being exploded enough to further damage the town, somehow. But Grief gives the Mandalorian people some reservation land. Oh, what? Am I not supposed to call it that? Because that's what it is. It gives them land between lava flats and a canyon. Don't worry, as long as he doesn't discover any oil there, you guys won't have to move again. Maybe.
You may no longer have a home planet.
Except they do. They know they do. Din and Bo-Katan have been there. Oh well, I guess they live here now.
You may no longer have a home planet.
Well, they do,
yeah,
actually.
We do.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, it's what I thought we spent like 4 episodes establishing that they do.
I didn't even think of that. Why aren't they going back to Mandalore? It's not poisonous.
Go there and start planting things in the ground.
Building things.
Mind we actually don't care about Mandalore anymore.
They established it was not poisonous, and that was the only reason they couldn't go there.
We spend all that fucking time to have them live here? Are you fucking with me?
Don't worry, this surely won't be retconned by the end of the episode. But we're not done yet with this dumb because the armorer wants to speak to Bo-Katan. I hope you're ready for this, everyone. She has this extremely weird bit where she talks about the forge. Like, there were 2 different forges for the Mandalorians, yet both were forges. Yes, indeed. My office chair and my living room chair are different, yet they are both chairs. This is not a deep thought. She tells Bo-Katan to remove her helmet. This is never explained. They never properly explain why she's allowed to do this. Oh, it's because the actor wants to show her face. Great. Even Bo-Katan thinks this is weird.
Do you respect my station?
I don't know. What is your station? What are you? Are you the leader? What the fuck is anything? Don't think. Consume. Turn your brain off.
I will.
I'm actually gonna use that. I'm gonna use that. What? No. What? No. No.
Wait, what happened?
She's removing her helmet.
Do you respect my station? I do.
You're not supposed to remove that. I'm gonna scream.
I'm prepared.
Fooled you. You're no longer Mandalorian.
What the fuck? Isn't that the whole fucking thing?
We must walk the way together. All Mandalorians.
So how much of this shit matters now? Can anyone take their helmet off? Did the redemption fucking matter at all? But don't worry about any of that, because Bo-Katan is the rightful rulers of all Mandalorians, because she's walked both worlds, which is literally the dumbest reason for her to have the right to rule. You could say she's been through hell and she's earned it, which I would at least question a little, or you could say she's got the right by blood, but no, she's the rightful ruler because she'd take the helmet off and see the giant fish. Great job, Disney. But she apparently is going to recruit other Mandalorians, even though they don't respect her and they left her. Now she can recruit them to her new cult. If you say so, Sho.
It is time to retake Mandalore.
Oh, so all this episode was pointless. Don't worry though, because we're still not done with the stupid. Devin is flying through space and finds a shadowed area. How does one shadow something in space? Great question! But we see the shuttle that took Gideon, and it turns out there's a message in Beskar on the wall. I don't know how Beskar leaves a message, but fine, whatever. So he's supposed to think that the Mandalorian stole him. Nothing will come of this. This is not brought up again. I remember in Game of Thrones around the midway point, we would have had faith that this would have some type of payoff, but not in today's age. Not since the Purge. But apparently there's a mention of the shuttle missing, but the details were classified. So much though that even a lieutenant cannot access them. And apparently, no one questions this. Episode 6, Jack Black and Doc Brown. Why? So we move into an episode starring Christopher Lloyd, and opposite an overweight, obnoxious, talentless, quote-unquote, musician who can't act. And Jack Black. Yeah, that joke was obvious, but this review has me strung out already. But yeah, Christopher Lloyd and Jablinski all in one episode. And they actually try. Like, I know Jack Black has a reputation for being a hyperactive child, and his boisterous attitude is still in this, but he actually does deliver a decent performance, which means he vastly outshines most of the people in this. And Lloyd, he's still got it, man. The years have not really slowed him down that much. As for Lizzo, look, we all know why she's famous, and it's not for her music, and as we'll see in a moment, it isn't for her acting range either, which is, let's be charitable and say it has yet to fully manifest itself. She would be at home in a high school performance of Shakespeare. Like an inner city school, not an artsy one. Reminds me of something.
Send out the probes. Do it now.
Oh, sorry, I forgot I don't like those actresses who are stunning and brave because I'm sexist, or a racist, or a basist, or whatever ist I'm supposed to be merely because I acknowledge that these ladies' performance in Star Wars is objectively shit. There might be stunning actresses outside of this, but this is all I've seen them from, and on the acting front, it's not a strong first impression. Of course, in Lizzo's case, trying to score a good first impression is probably a lost cause. But on to the episode itself. We actually open up on a Quarren ship, where one feeds another a special fish? What is this? What's happening right now? What the fuck is broken? Everything, as ever. But they really do want to introduce Bo-Katan's ex-crew, and we're hired down to track these Quarren because Lady and the son of the Mon Calamari wanted to do a runaway romance. But apparently attacking the ship would be an act of war, because they say so. But the Mandalorians saying nuh-uh, because we were hired, which doesn't take care of the problem at all, as the attack is the issue, and best case scenario, it's still a war just with those who hired you. But she denies taking the son, and the Mandalorian says, I know it was for love. I have no clue how he knows this. Evidently the people who hired him don't know it, so who knows how he found this out. What if he was wrong and she'd just eaten him or whatever they thought she was going to do, because I certainly don't know. Then the prince runs in saying he won't go because they love each other.
I'm only guessing, but I think the bluff went right out the window.
I can't go back to that wretched palace.
Don't make us damage your girlfriend's pretty little ship.
Wow. We are getting more of rich people complaining about how rich they are. I love Star Wars. This is great. There's this overblown bit where two fish people try and fuck.
I thought Mandalorians were honorable.
We are, kid. All it takes is a few credits.
John, real talk here, baby. Were you proud of this line? Because it's fucking dumb. How is doing a job you were hired to do dishonorable? How is standing against your employer for love an honorable thing? Why would a warrior culture give a fuck about love? How is doing anything just for credits honorable? How is anything going on here related to Mandalorian honor at all? True Mandalorians would be severely put out that there was no fight during this whole transaction. When they said this would be an act of war, the real Mandalorian response would be,
You son of a bitch! I'm in!
But Bo-Katan lands on planet. I wish this place was distinguishable from any other, but they're having a really pointless conversation, when what seriously sounds like a dumb ringtone blares through the ship. Josh and I both assumed the other person's cell phone was going off.
Asked if we go in on foot.
What? I thought that was like a ringtone of yours or something that it was capturing.
I thought it was you! I was genuinely about to pause and go, oh, I think Granny's calling you, and then I realized it was in the fucking show. I like that we both had that thought simultaneously. Like, oh no, clearly this is an actual real-life ringtone. Nobody would be stupid enough to put this in Star Wars. Wasn't ready for that.
Nope.
I want to die, so I'm going home.
But they override the control of Bo-Katan's ship and force it to dock. No. What? No, stop. Show. You're drunk. Go home. Star Wars has tractor beams. Why are you making it canon that you can override a person's ship and pilot for them? Why isn't this done in every space battle? Why didn't the Rebels do this anytime they were coming up against a Star Destroyer? Why not anything, Disney? Stop making new shit. It fucks with everything, every time. And believe it or not, it's not the last time we're gonna do this very episode, and far from the last time this season. I can't believe people think Dave and Jon are better than JJ or Ryan. But we'll get there soon, don't worry. But they're grounded and come up with some black painted astromechs and protocol droids. They're not merch, I can't stress that enough. They're not merch. They serve no purpose and there's literally no reason that they're here, and it's 3PO and R2 but dipped in tar, but they are not merch. Stop laughing, buy the toy. But apparently these are Imperial droids, if you say so. But our duo can't understand why the planet would have ex-Imperial droids on it, except that would totally make sense. Again, the Empire should have tons of tech and weapons left behind that would effectively be utilized to help people. But you don't know how to write, so we just don't focus on that. But Bo-Katan tries to tell the female HAL 9000 that she wants to go to the Mandalorian fleet. But HAL can't do that as per the Coruscant Accords. Question: why would a planet that you just told me is independent have to abide by the Accords of the New Republic? Iran doesn't really do what NATO says because they don't give a shit. But their presence is requested by the authorities, who want them to solve a problem with a robot uprising, and we'll get to that. But they have no clue Bo-Katan was going to be there. They didn't ask for her to come. They just took permission of her ship once she was in atmosphere. So, assuming they are somehow aware, because apparently the security here panics anytime someone sneezes, and they bring it straight to the ruling authorities' attention every single time someone arrives on planet. Also, they already have tons of Mandalorians on this planet. Why do they need Bo-Katan and Mando? It's beyond me. But yeah, the authorities request their presence.
Please, your presence has been requested by the leadership of the planetary democracy.
I'm afraid we have more pressing matters. Perhaps at a later time.
Please do not attempt to leave the vehicle. This is not a request.
Well, make up your mind, you talking pill capsule. But we enter Jack Black's party, even though the show was so rude as to call him man.
Join us! Come!
Oh, here we fucking go.
It's a party!
Oh no.
Here we fucking go.
No.
You're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to mentally prepare for this.
Sip, sip. Come, please.
Pause it for just a second. I'm gonna. Where's my fucking tequila?
I hope you like secretions. Take a little sip, sip. Come, please.
I hope you like secretions.
My brain ignored that. My brain genuinely did not acknowledge that he said that. I was focused on have a little sip sip.
But they are drinking the secretions from the... Fucking ew, Disney. But Jack Black and Lizzo sing their love for each other in a way no one has ever done ever. And I search for a way out of this episode, but there is no escape.
Let's address the bantha in the room. I was once a facilities planning officer during the war.
And thanks to the New Republic amnesty program, I was able to help rebuild Plaza 15.
That's what you want to talk about? There's like 20 things in here that need to be addressed far before we pay any attention to Lizzo, and yes, the obvious joke is obvious. But serious, Jack, you having been a part of the amnesty program is far from the biggest issue I have in this room. It didn't even make my list. Also, was he, was he this animated when he was working for the Empire? Can you imagine Tarkin trying to have a military conversation with Jack Black? Because that's the implications of this. Also, he helped rebuild the planet due to the New Republic's amnesty program, despite the fact that we have been told this place is not part of the New Republic. How does anything? How does it? How? Please, how?
Build Plaza 15.
But it's not part of the New Republic!
Yeah, they did say it was independent, right?
Yeah! Am I fucking having a stroke? Did we make that up?
I mean, I thought I remembered them saying that.
I am so confused right now. Like, I swear, different people wrote every scene and nobody checked with anybody on anything. But Lizzo gives Jack Black's story in a performance that, well, again, it would be at home in an inner city high school, if you follow me there. Although, in her defense, this dialogue is so bad that it makes me gag.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
No, it's actually much worse than that. I'm not even kidding.
I don't like sand. I don't like sand. Sand.
That is something I know I cannot do.
Simply put, I love sand. I wanna run my fingers through it. The pleasure of the texture is somewhat therapeutic. I've never found it to be coarse, rough, or irritating. I'm sick of smooth surfaces. I prefer it grainy.
Could I perhaps hold the baby?
Lady, he is 50 plus years old. I know we've been calling him Baby Yoda, but can we please stop pretending he's not older than everybody in this room?
And the Mandalorian privateer warships docked in your fields?
Oh, we hire them for protection. Our charter forbids us from having a military because of my husband's imperial past.
Wait, stop. Stop everything. So you can't have a military because of your charter, even though you're ruling authorities who are not part of the Republic, but it doesn't stop you from keeping basically a group of mercenaries on your payroll? What the fuck a duck is that? Don't you even act like that's sensible. I don't care that you tried to bury it under Lizzo and there's a dozen odd jokes to go along with that, but you just gave us a stupid excuse for Din and Bo to be here. Never mind the all of that, because if the Mandalorians are on your payroll, why the fuck aren't they taking care of this problem? Dave, John, have you completely given up? It sounds like it, especially if the rumors about you rebooting the Mandalorian universe are true. I urge you, please, stop. You are clearly incapable of running your shit. You are causing irreparable damage to this IP you claim to love. Please, just stop.
You really must see the view.
It sucks so bad because I love Jack Black. But
I do too. He doesn't deserve this. Honestly, while Jack is still what we could normally be called over the top for Star Wars, the fact is that he is acting here and outperforming everybody in this scene by quite a lot. But Jack Black helped redesign the droids on this planet for peaceful purposes, and that is a concept that actually makes a lot of sense. After all, tons of droids are no longer being used for anything. Makes no sense not to use them as valuable resources. Also, I would love to just take a moment to point out Lizzo's floating thing behind her. I have no clue what it is, but it reeks of the dumb.
What's that thing following her? Is that part of her dress? Is this like a fucking is this like a cosmetic you buy from an MMO? Yeah.
Yeah.
Our constables are ill-equipped to confront battle droids. Our constables aren't even allowed to carry blasters.
But you can hire you can't carry blasters, but you can hire Mandalorians in a warship. Okay, you lost me.
You can't have military, but you can have a police force. But your police force sucks so much dick that they can't take out a few rogue battle droids. The whole point of battle droids was that they sucked, but they were cheap to make, so the Separatists just made 1 billion of them. The world building is hurting me again. But Mando is surprised that they're using battle droids. I don't know what he thought they were referring to when they said they had a bunch of droids that were programmed for peaceful purposes.
Our charter forbids any standing army from entering our city. Our constables aren't even allowed to carry blasters.
Okay, let's do this again.
Here we go.
Mercenaries are not the same as a standing army. A charter would not apply to the army that you do not own. If you already can't have an army, why does your charter forbid one from entering the city?
If the whole group can't enter, but 2 Mandalorians can handle this problem, why not just bring 2 of the people that you already pay in to do this job? If droids are going rogue and attacking, surely you or a tech wizard can scan their memory banks or tasks and get a rough idea of what happened. Why not appeal to the New Republic for help? I mean, you're not part of them, but neither is Navarro, and the galaxy will apparently hold you in limbo until help arrives. This bit certainly is not the dumbest thing in this series, but make no mistakes, it is indeed of the dumb.
The people have voted we are a pluralistic society. You are Mandalorians. Weaponry and armor are intrinsic to your culture, are they not?
That's not how that works. Pluralistic societies happen because people of different classes, religions, and races and so forth come together and congeal naturally. No one votes to be a varied culture. That just happens when you get a bunch of people with different backgrounds together. But what I think Jablinski is implying is that because weapons are part of the Mandalorian religion, they can't be disarmed illegally, which is bullshit because they did it to Mando in Book of Boba Fett, so that doesn't protect shit. But even if that made sense, the Mandalorians who were on your outskirts are also Mandalorians, and also have weapons as a part of their culture. But Jack Black says if they take care of the problem on Plazar 15, they would help recognize Mandalore as a sovereign system, and petition the New Republic to recognize it as one too. I have no clue what any of that means. I have no clue how big Plazar 15 is, and if they can do this. I don't know if this planet is like Russia or Pretoria when it comes to making moves like this. I could know, if a competent scriptwriter had set up some stuff. It really doesn't take much, just a throwaway line when we're on Coruscant. Has Plazar 15 sent word back on our proposal? They wish to remain independent, but will continue our trade deal. Something like that. You just have to show that they are in fact a thing, and not just some bullshit you picked out of your ass 2 minutes before filming. Except that the Mandalorians aren't even on Mandalore yet. They're on Navarro. They'll be leaving there because, fuck episode 5, I guess, what did it ever do for us? But they haven't done it yet. Jack Black must have read the script for 7 and 8 before they got here, I guess.
Why would the New Republic give a
why would they give a fuck?
If you're not under their influence or their rules or their laws, why would they give a shit?
Yeah. I don't... So essentially what's happening here is that Russia and China are in the middle of trying to figure out who's stronger. They're both waving their dicks at each other. And then one tiny city right outside of Russia's borders is going, by the way, there's a new country. We would like you to acknowledge it.
Uh-huh.
Why would they give a shit?
Russia and China are both going to turn to you and be like, shut the fuck up.
Sit down before we slap you.
Mom and Dad are having an argument.
Go to your room. But they go to Doc Brown, who tells them that the droids are reprogrammed quite successfully until an isolated incident. Those don't look like battle droids.
What the fuck?
Yeah, how this?
Oh man, what a tragedy!
That's just a guy who got sick of his job. That's all that was. Been there, bro. Been there.
Be more accurate about emptying it. Be more accurate. What about that?
There, the fucking bin's empty now, isn't it? Oh my goodness. See, like, that's something I would expect from Love, Death, and Robots.
Uh-huh.
Which not only is that very much not a battle droid, but what exactly was that? What was it trying to do? Now we're going to jump ahead in this episode for a second because I refuse to respect this script knowing what it turns into. So, Doc Brown here reprogrammed the battle droids in the dumbest way possible because he wanted to punish Jack Black. Because Doc Brown was once a separatist and he hates the Empire. So he's punishing somebody who was once Empire but no longer is. Shut up, it makes sense. But he decides to cause problems with a droid that is not only not a battle droid and therefore not one of the droids Jack Black would have reprogrammed and therefore it shouldn't reflect on him in any way, shape, or form. But he didn't reprogram it to be violent at all. And he decided to keep a perfect record of what happened. And reveal that record to the first people that asked about it. This dude sucks at villaining. But we see a bunch of battle droids and not battle droids going haywire, which Doc Brown has a perfect record of. And I suppose he just wants to be caught.
Give us the list.
Well, for that, you'll have to go to the lower level and speak to the Ugnaughts.
You don't have it? Why don't you have the list?
I was going to say, if you've got the security footage, then you should be able to identify which droids are the ones that are having problems, right?
But anyway, Doc Brown has a switch. He says we'll shut down all the droids, but the city voted against it, because the battle droids are not only mounting a mostly peaceful protest, and some space CNN had a hard-on for it, So yeah, there are isolated incidents of killing people, but for some reason, no one wants to ban the thing that's killing people. I wonder if this is a really lazy allegory for something. Why is Star Wars still preaching politics at me? I can't stand this shit. Again, it's not just because it's politics I mostly disagree with, but the fact that our world is influencing Star Wars messaging at all annoys me. When George built Star Wars, he wanted to get away from what was happening throughout that era of storytelling. He wanted a clear good guy and a clear bad guy. We root for the good guy to overcome his challenge and save the day. It's not complex, but it works. Now, story, world building, character, and indeed entertainment comes secondary to pushing some bullshit onto the screen. It has no place in an entertainment medium. If you tell a story that has parallels to our world, okay, sure, you can do that, but that's not the same as forcing those parallels into somebody else's stories. George famously didn't canonize the EU because he didn't want to be handicapped by somebody else's tales and rules in his universe. I can relate to that. Yet you've decided to take that universe and turn it into a megaphone to shout some bullshit at me. No, that was just the movies. These aren't garbage in almost every single way. But they want the duo to take out any remaining rogue droids. I would ask how they know, but don't worry, there's a list. Show. If everybody already knows the list, why haven't they done anything about it? Why would you allow those droids to continue their average duties? You suck dick, Doc Brown. But they go down to the Ugnaughts, who completely ignore Bo-Katan. Honestly, I was amazed they didn't quickly recognize how amazing she really is. But Mando speaks up and uses Quill's I have spoken mantra. Oh, so that's not just like a weird quirk or a thing that was unique to Quill. That's just an Ugnaught thing. Thanks for somehow making I have spoken meaningless, Disney. Never mind that, though, because they somehow all know who Quill is just because he's an Ugnaught, I guess. Like, I don't know anybody who lives on my block, let alone in my state or country, and I certainly don't know some random dude in Australia just because he's also white. That's not how that works. Man, Disney makes the Star Wars universe feel fucking microscopic.
How would they possibly know who that is?
Well, it's a small galaxy. All the Ugnaughts know the Ugnaughts.
Yeah. Bullshit. He lived on, like, what, the outskirts of Tatooine. These guys all know him, huh?
Thank you for your hospitality and for sharing your table with us.
No, you guys are pricks until we mentioned that we knew one of you across the galaxy and you were ignoring us until then. You people are jerks. Fuck you.
But the Ugnaughts deny any problems with the droids, and I guess everything is fine. We get to go home. I don't know why they were afraid it might reflect poorly on them, or indeed how they have a remote fucking clue which droids are gonna malfunction. Just, don't worry, we're gonna get into it, and it's just so very dumb. But the loading dock captain says they can't be here. Then he asks to see their ID. Bo-Katan says they were sent by the Duchess, and the droid says he knows. What was any of that whole interaction? If you knew, then why did you try and deny them access, and ask who they were, droid? Why do you suck so bad? But Mando picks on some droids, and the commander warns him off. Mando asks why, and the droid says it's as a precaution. So this droid not only knows what's going wrong, he also knows how violent this is going to get, and is even lying to protect his super battle droid. And all of this is after a thorough wipe and reprogramming job. Disney, I don't think you understand how droids work.
Their base function was warfare.
Disney, the droids, they're not like retired military dogs. They shouldn't retain any of what they had on them when they were war droids. Does Disney not actually know about wiping a droid's mind? I mean that sincerely, because it doesn't seem like they do. The weapon should have been torn out of these anyway. But the droid runs off in a very telling run that says to me they probably achieved this through motion capture. Remember when these things could barely move? Same droid, everybody. But there is an extended chase sequence, and shocking that no one is actually killed in this scene. The super battle droid stomps on a speeder and breaks it for literally no reason, as I could see. Hey, you know what would be smart? If it just disappeared into another group of super battle droids, which should be fucking everywhere if they were using ex-war droids. You could even have a super tense moment where they have to slowly search to find out which one is corrupt. That chance was standing there with its pants around its ankles, and you still missed it. But more running happens as we fly past the mopeds that gave me a Book of Boba Fett flashback that I didn't ask for or want. Oh my gosh, it's the mopeds! Keep going! No! No! Bring in the Power Rangers, you cowards! Do it! You won't. Also about here, Disney's site crashed, and this happened over and over and over and over while Josh and I were watching this. But I caught this one on camera, so this is what it's like to try to use Disney's website. Uh-oh, I froze it. What did I do?
You clicked the buttons too fast. You can't do that. I mean, this is Disney's media player and they're an indie company. You can't just do that.
Bro, let me tell you, their fucking software sucks dick. Also, it crashed my whole fucking Chrome.
Neat.
It literally crashed Google Chrome. 10 out of 10, Disney.
Small indie company.
Their fucking website runs like it, I swear. Half the time this shit doesn't work. I have to re-log into it every single time I visit the website. Like, just... It's a piece of shit. It's not like they have millions of dollars they could put into a website, though. Disney, hire somebody who does coding, please. To get back to the home screen if you're linked a few episodes in is just a pain in the ass. I know you don't have to try because you're Disney, but maybe consider it, especially if you're going to lose 400 million subscribers. But back on the still chase sequence, Mando Obi-Wan Kenobi's himself through a window and catches the droid in a scene that is unintentionally hilarious. There's quite a few of these moments in the show, moments that are just so insane, so stupid, that you see them and your brain will spend several seconds trying to understand what it was it just saw. Then they shoot it. No idea why that took so long or why they shot it in the middle of a crowded street. But Bo-Katan looks at it for 2 seconds and finds a spark pad. What's a spark pad, you ask? Good fucking question, because it's some brand new bullshit they just made up. Are we sure an AI isn't writing this? Because it really feels like it is. But the spark pad apparently helps those droids go haywire despite the fact that it comes with a tagline, so you know where it came from. Nothing like signing a piece of evidence that you know the cops are going to find. But the resistor is a droid bar. You heard me right. Do not adjust your speakers. A droid bar. Why? Why would droids need a bar? Why do droids seek recreation? Droids are not human beings. Does Disney think droids are just actually like humanoids? That they're actually completely human? Yeah, I guess they do. Fuck off, show.
Okay, so are robots, like, sentient? Or...
Wow. The Star Wars world doesn't really like to deal with that question.
Well, then don't make a droid bar.
Especially now, you're making minds are wandering. Definitely wandering.
This is a social space.
This is a little... Yeah, I don't know if they want to tread down this path.
But they go to the droid bar, which is popping off. I guess Disney is sold on the idea that if you keep telling everyone soulless creations are important, they'll buy it. Actually, yeah, that does sound exactly like the type of thing Disney would be sold on. But they show the bartender the shock pad, which are the droid's equivalent of LSD, I guess. So when a droid is feeling lost and existential about its robot life, it could take several zaps to the circuit and forget the sad state of its robot existence. Because that makes sense. But the droid begins to point out that his operation is all above board until Mando threatens him, and this is exactly the same problem. How could one threaten a droid? You might as well threaten a brick.
I am curious. Are androids capable of feeling anything akin to real fear?
They're also programmed not to harm organics. How's that?
Bullshit! Battle droids are... Oh my gosh! So what they're referencing is the law of robotics. And the first rule is that a robot cannot harm a human being or through an action allow a human being to come to harm. Like this dude basically wrote a book ages ago that, in order to prevent a robot uprising, there would have to be 3 laws that would be placed into action. And that was the first one, that they can't harm a human or allow a human being to come to harm. Yeah, that's what they're referencing, except we know that's not true in Star Wars. Droids harm people all the time.
Uh-huh.
These droids were literally... Well, not these droids, but battle droids were literally built for it. But the droid is apparently experiencing worry that they'll be shut down and decommissioned if things keep going as they have been. So now the droid wants to help, despite literally nothing having changed. But the droids want to keep on living because the humans don't ask too much of them, and their lives have so much meaning around that, and combined with the lazy slave allegory, it makes a really awkward message. But the same droids are now apparently drinking from the same beer keg that no one thought might be an interesting thing to pass along. Nancy Drew's shaking her head at this BS right now. Then we go to the morgue, where a droid was slid into the wall. Disney, please. Please tell me you have not implied there are robot mortuaries. Are there droid funerals? Reading of droid wills? Is there a droid angel of death who decommissions droids that are barely functional? Is there a droid court? I mean, I would watch Droid Court for like an episode, but I don't want it to be part of Star Wars, much less an episode of The Mandalorian. But lab tech tests the droid blood, and we see that the Make Everything Evil button is turned on in those droids. And then the lab tech droid goes evil because it had the evil blood in it. I guess the syringe just goes straight into its own system? Somehow? For some reason? This makes no sense. Then Mando Darksabers. Sting.
That took him a while to do, but at least the Darksaber is still rightfully his, so I guess he has every right to use it against this droid. No reason I'm bringing that up, just keep it in mind. But the droid blood had nanobots in it, and follow me here, it had a chain code embedded on it that tells them these droids were brought in by the security office, and by the actual person that ordered them, which is Doc Brown. Literally every criminal in this episode leaves a calling card with their fucking ID attached to it. This is beyond dumb. We've gone mega dumb. So the next step is to go back exactly where they started and confront him, and I'm curious as to what exactly the fuck a duck he thought was going to happen.
He left all of the information on the very liquid that is the first thing that people might check in the droids that are going crazy. Good job, man.
God, Christopher Lloyd, the years have not been kind to your mind. You used to travel through time.
What a stupid fucking idiot. What was the plan?
But he threatens to turn the droids into warriors again.
Don't make me do it.
No, you should 100% be pressing that button. This is literally the only thing you could have wanted to do. In fact, the fact that you have set several of them off early is full of the dumb. You could have, / should have, the most successful surprise attack ever in all of Star Wars. But instead, you just didn't. But yeah, Doc Brown was a Dooku supporter, and they stun him and probably kill an old man. Then we go to Lizzo playing bug crochet. I thought she was going to eat it. I genuinely thought she was going to eat it. But Grogu helps her cheat. They crash the party, and the head of security, without any warning or preamble, gets brought in. But Doc Brown has a thing where he just hates Jack Black and loves Lizzo. Jack Black performs some actually good acting in here that is nothing the show understands or deserves.
This planet is unrecognizable since he arrived. I had a feeling you hated me.
Then Lizzo gives a heartfelt speech, and I have a suspicion that she wrote it herself, because it is just that level of cringe.
I'm disappointed in you, Commissioner. You served my family well. But Captain Bombardier is the love of my life, and I know his heart is true. Sure, he's made some mistakes in the past, but who here among us has not? Is there no room for a little bit of forgiveness in a galaxy so vast?
I am sorry to have disappointed you, my lady.
I had to sit through all of that, so do all of you. But after being a die-hard extremist, he becomes a civiling simp, begging for Lizzo to forgive him. I don't know if there was supposed to be a case of a powerful, diverse woman who's just so amazing, but damn if it's not just a stunning 180 here. Like, I have whiplash.
It does feel like it's gotten worse, too, because when Bill Burr, guests in this, he plays a character, and they take it seriously. This is like... I don't even know what this is.
As for now, you must live in exile on the moon of Paraquat.
Okay.
What, do you even know what he did? Does he get a trial?
Do you even know what he did?
Oh, he's just leaving.
Oh, bye. I'll take care of that, don't you worry.
But they gift the duo the literal key to the planet? City? Who knows, Disney says they're the same thing. Then, and I swear I'm not making this up, she knights Grogu. Fuck knows why. Oh, great. Baby's been knighted now.
He didn't fucking do anything!
He literally did nothing.
I grant knighthood.
What?
What the fuck?
What?
What did it do?
What is happening?
Knighthood?
You're a knight now. What is happening?
What the fuck?
My God.
But let's talk about who the Mandalorian leader is, which I thought was Mando because he has the Darksaber, but that is literally not brought up. He's not even in the running for leader because reasons. But we get to the Mandalorians, 2 of whom are playing catch. But Bo-Katan challenges Wolves to be the leader, and he accepts. Now, as the challenged, he of course has the right to set the terms, and what weapons and armors are allowed, and oh, they're just going. Great, okay. Who wants the cultures of the Mandalorian in a show called The Mandalorian? But there's, well, I guess you could call it fighting, and Bo-Katan punches Wolves hard enough to floor him. Sure, Disney, whatever you say. But weirdly, in that strike, she should have stabbed him and just didn't. Like, the blade is on her right arm, and she punches him with that arm. I still have no clue what that was about.
Oh, we're using vibro blades?
No, they're not vibro blades. They don't call them that.
Well, I thought she would fucking
I thought she did just stab him. Yeah! What did she do? I missed it.
That would have been a fucking Mandalorian move.
Yeah, because she,
Is the blade's on her right arm, right?
I thought it was, but so she just punched him. And then she just punched him in the chest.
Where's the blade?
Who knows? The Force did it.
Oh, it went, no, it came back out! Watch her arm. After she punches him. And then it shink!
What the fuck?
She intentionally didn't stab him! But yes, the blade retracts specifically so she can punch him. This is like the opposite of what your wrist blade should be doing. But instead of stabbing her, Wolves jetpack tackles her and screams, which the screaming does nothing for him here. To briefly explain, exhalations during an attack can actually give you some more power behind the move. I learned this when doing Taekwondo classes, and this is what they refer to as a kiap. So as I understand it, there is something to the science behind exhaling during a physical attack. However, the jetpack is doing all the work here. So screaming is just a Mandalorian losing their cool, which is not a Mandalorian. But he uppercuts her, and now she isn't unconscious or losing teeth, I don't know. But he sends out missiles that I think hit his own people. 300 IQ move right there. Then she jetpack tackles and restrains him. Sure, Disney. But then some more fighting happens and Bo-Katan wins, and he mentions how she won't even take the dark saber from Mando. And I'm not sure how he even knows that Mando has it. Maybe he was one of the people on the ship? I generally have no idea. But Wolves point out that the ruler of Mandalore must have the dark saber. So Mando gives it to Bo-Katan. This is different than when she wanted it in Season 2, when Mando tried to give it to her because fuck you. But yeah, supposedly she was the real master of the Elder Wand all along because of bullshittery. Mando asks for clarification from the gang, but no one says anything because their lore changes by the minute and nobody knows anything about it. But Bo-Katan now has the blade, because she's the rightful ruler of all the Mandalorians. Don't worry guys, we're almost done. Episode 7, The Dumb Begins. We pick back up with Lady Bitch on Coruscant, totally looking around to let both us and everybody else on the planet know that she's up to no good. But she's talking to Gideon, who is speaking through a probe droid. Why and why? Why do you need a droid for this at all? Disney, this is after the OT and long after the Clone Wars, when you have plenty of ways of communicating without using droids to produce holograms. But even if you did need a droid, why would you use a droid that's known to be Empire tech? Because we've already seen that the New Republic doesn't reuse Empire shit. And even if you were gonna use an Empire droid, why would you use a probe droid instead of like an astromech or a fucking mouse droid even? All of this is dumb and it just hit in like half a second. One choice. That's what kicked that all off. One choice. Writing is hard, isn't it, boys? But Gideon, who is using a handheld communicator, by the way, tells her to continue the mission and walks to a meeting past several dark troopers who are no longer dark. And I think they're back to being human again, even though the whole selling point at the end of Season 2 was that the human was the problem. But now they're human again. I think. It's not made super clear right yet, but you'll see what I mean soon. But there's a meeting where surviving imp leaders are arguing. One says they need to remain hidden, which is sensible, and another says that they're losing money by not having a racket going, which is full of dumb. But these guys don't even know which of them should be in charge, to which I would just say, well, it should go by rank, shouldn't it? Isn't that how military works? They still use the ranks in reference to one another, so who knows?
There are citizens loyal to the Empire on every planet in this galaxy.
Why? Keep in mind, this isn't like one government leader got voted out and replaced. This was the evil galactic empire that crushed the galaxy for 2 decades and blew up a planet. Unless what you're saying is that there are a few scatterings of loyal citizens on most planets, then perhaps, but the implication is that if the government changed again, plenty of people would be on board. Then again, knowing the New Republic, maybe that's true. Is this how the First Order came back into power? Make no mistake, people, all roads lead to the sequel trilogy, and no amount of theorizing and praise is going to save you from the shitty writing. Thrawn is mentioned, and it amounts to nothing but, hey, fun shout-out for anybody that cares, because that's all Disney is capable of. The bigger note here is that Commandant Hux is mentioned, because all roads lead to the sequel trilogy again, who is, and I swear I'm not making this up, he's working on Project Necromancer.
And provide Commandant Hux enough time to deliver on Project Necromancer.
I wonder what that's a reference to.
Project Necromancer.
Captain. Glad to see that Empire naming committee is still delivering grade A work. Project Necromancer, for fuck's sake. Almost as good as the Death Star. Almost as good. Weird thought is that Hux's, I guess, dad or granddad is in charge of the system that is going to bring back Palpafuck, and yet Hux
never had any clue what was going on with that. I'm not saying he would have told him in detail, but like, really, you're never gonna say, hey, by the way, maybe, don't be loyal to anybody new because the Emperor might be still kicking around. What's that? Your bullshit fix of your shit content doesn't hold up?
We need to put some holdo maneuvers. Do some real damage. Come on, that move is 1 in a million.
There is also a blunt moment where everyone has a line.
Yes.
Of course.
That's right. Yes.
And yet... Wow. That was so bluntly, let's give every character a line. Yes, that's right. I agree. Okay. Like, what the fuck was that?
But Gideon requests 3 Praetorian guards. Because, all together now, all roads lead to the sequel trilogy.
3 Praetorian guards.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! It's the fucking Red Guards from Last Jedi. That's what those guys are called. I only know that because it's a Lego game, but that is what those guys are called. I swear, man, all roads lead to the fucking sequel trilogy. I want to shove this episode in the face of every single motherfucker who claimed Dave and Jon were already writing off the sequel trilogy. Go fuck yourselves. Sorry, Dave and Jon are good writers.
We go over Gideon's shopping list in a style that would make Captain Kirk proud.
And bombers.
Seriously, the way this scene is performed reminds me of the Avengers.
Doth mother know you weareth her drapes?
This is beyond you, Metal Man.
But Gideon says he needs them because the Mandalorians are going to retake their home world of Mandalore. Not only is he exactly right, considering he has no reason to suspect this, but he's also one step ahead of them completely because of go fuck yourself. But this is a huge concern because the Mandalorians are somehow even a bigger concern than the New Republic. Wow, Disney, thanks for cucking them even further. But the new Mandalorians land on Navarro in a really unfitting musical way.
Send for the king. Open the gate!
And when we get another shot of Dewey Mandalorians, we can see that they have multiplied again. Clearly, these guys have learned the secrets of the Dothraki. I ask again, are we sure that we're sure D&D didn't get a Star Wars series? New Mandalorians exit and remove their helmets for a good staring contest, not realizing that having a helmet means you can cheat. Then the armorer bangs her talking stick, because that's what it is, because Bo-Katan is in charge, right? I just don't with this show anymore. It's dumb. It's not even done being dumb yet. It gets so much worse. But Grief shows up and tells Mando that IG-11 is back. Sort of. It's IG-12 now, and that is the equivalent of a power armor suit. The Babu Fricks did this so Grogu can climb inside of the body of his deceased friend and puppeteer him for his own amusement. What? Am I not supposed to phrase it that way because that's abso-fucking-lutely horrifying? Would it help if I told you that this doesn't even matter one bit? But the Babu Frick is actually cute again.
Bad baby. No, it's crazy.
Damn it.
Well,
No.
I don't want to like you.
But Grogu goes down the street chanting yes in a flawless impression of a bored child at the mall. And it reminds everyone why we've entertained fantasies of dropkicking that child. Grogu steals some food and forces Din to pay for it. Almost like having a kid with the power of a death machine is a bad idea. But they're cooking several large birds, and I can only imagine that those are the birds they picked up in Episode 4, because those birds are never brought up again. Eat the foundling, it's the Mandalorian way.
we send down a small
Wasn't there a huge thing about how they got this area specifically because they are Navarro's defense force?
Uh-huh.
So just fuck Navarro, I guess.
Yeah, and like they're supposed to have land, aren't they?
Yeah.
On this
that was the whole
planet
deal.
specifically for that.
Yeah, he gave them a bunch of land so they had a place to live. Now they're like, I think we're gonna go home now. That would be the biggest slap in the face. If you, like, you know, say you had some room in your backyard or whatever, and you're like, oh, yeah, man, we'll put together a little area for you back there, you know, a nice little pool house or whatever. They come to you, like, 3 days later, like, I'm gonna go to my home now.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, it's a fixer-upper, but, it's better than hanging around here. What? Why'd you even... You asshole. But, yay, we're off to Mandalore. But, yay, a scouting party will go down first. I'm not sure why everybody else is waiting. It's not like they can provide support from above or go get more help, but okay, sure, whatever, I guess. But there's a very long moment before the drop, and I'm forced to ask why. Because there's no major threat as far as they're aware of.
We'll survey the surface until we find the forge and create a safety zone.
Find it? You don't know where it is? Didn't you live here for a long-ass time? I assumed you knew where things were. But no. You're gonna search a planet until you find this place. For fuck's sake, show. It's also worth mentioning that Bo-Katan has never confirmed that the atmosphere was safe to breathe before she removed her own helmet, but I guess there are no more questions on that and we don't talk about it. But a huge-ass pirate ship just rolls on up to them because it saw their ship land. And I promise I'm not making anything up here. There's a huge local crew of Mandalorians who have just been chilling ever since the planet was bombed. Okay, let's do this again.
Here we go again.
Why are you still here? How have you survived for decades all alone out here? Why didn't you see when Mando landed? Why didn't you see when Bo-Katan landed? Can you just scan any incoming ships through the EMP clouds? How did you see these guys landed if you can't just scan or whatever? How did Bo-Katan not know you existed? How does the Empire not know you existed? Why haven't you even remotely tried to build some type of signal or at least a way to communicate that you need help? Why is there even one ship that you could have sent out for help? And believe me, there are even more questions, but we're going to get into stupid spoilers, so we'll just leave it there for the time being. But no, with literally no issue, they pledge themselves back to Bo-Katan because she's just so amazing, everyone. So now the new Mandalorians, Dewey Mandalorians, and the Sandalorians are all working together. I'm sure they're going to kick some ass now, right? But wait, there's not even a foe for them to fight here. Or is there? But we get a bit of backstory on how Bo-Katan surrendered to Gideon so he wouldn't completely kill her people. This choice would have gotten any and every Mandalorian leader in Legends killed, but in Disney it just gets some shocked murmuring. Also, this is something that definitely should have come up before you started leading everybody, especially considering you just blurted out without a second thought. But yeah, there's a bunch of reminiscing, and for any competent writer it would be a great chance for some world building, some connection, some quiet moments, maybe show some strife over the beliefs of the different factions. But no, we get some vague lines, sad music, but at least we get a mention of the team in Dave Filoni's work.
Death Watch exists no longer.
Great.
Mandalore has always been too powerful for any enemy to defeat.
Bitch, your whole last 10 minutes was centered around how the Empire kicked your ass.
For thousands of years, we have been on the verge of extinction.
I hate you. I actually hate you that that's now Mandalorian history. That should be like the thing of Mandalorian history that isn't even recorded. They would record all their wars and their losses and their victories, but they wouldn't record being on the verge of extinction for thousands of years. Like, I feel like if you picked up a Mandalorian history, it'd be like, swung our dick at the Jedi, lost battle. Swung our dick at the Republic, won battle. Like, that's it. Like, it's just that for 10 pages.
I don't know if I can keep everyone together. There's too much animosity.
Oh, I guess there is if you say there is. We've seen literally none of it, but sure, okay.
I only know of this weapon what you taught me. To be honest, it means nothing to me or my people.
What? No, it means everything to your people. What is that line? Literally, you brought it back, everyone was like, oh, the kingly weapon. Yeah, this thing means nothing to any of my people. They don't give a shit about it. You're fucking lying out your ass. Everyone was wowed when they saw you had it. But there's an extended scene in which Mando tells Bo-Katan just how amazing and wonderful she is, because that's how you write character. You don't actually show the audience any of their traits. Another character just clunkily tells them what they are. But several of the Sandalorians are injured. I have no clue by what or why, but they don't appear to have been fighting anything. But luckily the Sandalorians know exactly where the forge is. I don't even know or care why they're searching for the forge. It really isn't important. But there's a long extended scene of the armorer taking all the wounded back to the main ship. This is unimportant. It will not serve a purpose. You won't even see the armorer drop them off, and spoiler alert, if she does, they all wind up dead. This, and one other really dumb thing, led to a widely shared theory amongst people that the armorer was a traitor. Honestly, I think this was just people desperately trying to apply some logic to the armorer, because after 3 seasons, she somehow has less character than Din Djarin, which is saying quite a lot, yet still true. But even the actress has expressed how disappointed she was that people didn't believe in her character. Bitch, for people to believe in your character, you would have had to have some character in the first place, and the massive fucking balls you have to imply that your character was betrayed after the shit Disney pulled in The Last Jedi makes me want to clip you upside the head. You have been a non-character for a couple years. Luke was a main character with tons of character for almost 50 years before Disney shit on him. But the new Mandalorians and Dway Mandalorians have a fight over a certain chess move that maybe almost leads to a fight.
Oh, this is to tell the... You know when this should have happened? This should have happened when they first fucking met, so that whenever they said that there was strife between the people, it made sense.
Uh-huh. Boy, that would have been nice.
That would have been nice. That would have, you know, hey, been a little bit of setup and payoff. I know John and Dave don't know what those words mean, but... My goodness, man. It's like you have to tell us stuff bluntly before we experience it. We can't possibly be left to deduce anything on our own.
Nope.
That's why I'm not sure about Lekki's theory that What's-Her-Face is a traitor, because they would have to tell us about it first.
But Bo-Katan says no one could step in because it was bound to happen. Bitch, you're in charge here. That's exactly why you should step in.
Neither side can step in. It was bound to happen sooner or later.
It was bound to happen sooner or later. Fucking show some leadership and stop them,
Yeah,
bitch.
yeah, you fucking morons. I'm actually okay with you having a fight over something that matters. This is a fucking chess. What was that? Lord.
But of all people, Grogu steps in. And after the baby says no 10 times, that apparently works, and everyone just goes back to being friends. This is the last bit of conflict we will have. There's another shot of the armor, just in case you wanted to think that was going anywhere. But there's a giant thing ahead of them, and it's telling that I actually forgot this scene existed. But it smashes the ship, exploding it for some reason, and they all just flee, just in case you thought they might be about to do something cool. But conveniently, they're already almost there, so they can make the rest of the way on foot. Don't worry about the monster, it will not come up again. I'm sensing a theme. But then a ton of jetpacks announced the arrival of the no longer Dark Troopers. How did they know that the Mandalorians were here at this exact moment? I don't know, and neither does the show, don't question it.
Man, awful convenient that they got here the same time as all the Mandalorians. Would have been really awkward if they got there and nobody was here.
Right? Boy, sure is a good thing.
I swear, man, nothing happens off screen in this universe. Like, if you're not on screen at that very moment, you're not active. Bullshit! No.
What did he just say?
No.
Tell me he didn't say what I think he did.
He did. He said it. Great. We're gonna explain. Fuck you, show. Actually, fuck yourself.
They're wearing Beskar.
Oh, imagine wearing armor. God fucking
Wait, so this
forbid.
fight's just gonna go on forever then?
Yeah.
Nobody can lose.
The slow blade penetrates the Beskar.
Okay, so apparently the no longer Dark Troopers have Beskar. Later on they will mention it's a Beskar alloy, meaning it should presumably be even stronger than normal Beskar, even though normal Beskar is basically indestructible. But somehow the Empire has gotten hold of this incredibly supposedly rare metal, and actually quite a lot of it, enough to make several dozen suits of Beskar, despite the fact that they shouldn't be able to forge it at all. Hey, Disney, you know a really easy fix to this? You could just have them wearing the Mandalorian armor from all the ones that got killed on Navarro. You could even do a psych out bit, and again, make it difficult to know who anyone was supposed to trust, but you won't do that, because you have no imagination and no brain. but they're pinned down even though they have jetpacks. So Wolves uses his jetpack to go get help from the fleet. What the fuck, show? But while all of this should be a stalemate because nobody should be able to be shot, the no longer Dark Trooper Beskar is sometimes made of paper. There's not even a moment that can actually explain why that is, it just is. Sometimes you can shoot them and sometimes you can't, flip a coin. But Big Chungus actually puts up a decent fight, and I'm sure that has nothing to do with the fact that he is Jon Favreau's personal insert character. Surely he won't be the only one to do a Mandalorian thing. That would be awful telling. But there's a lot of shooting and a few Mandalorians fall down a pit, even though they have jetpacks. Just let that be what it is. But a Mandalorian chokes one of the troopers out with her cable. So they are human beings. They are now human beings. Why and how, though? You're not a full empire anymore. You shouldn't have limitless resources. But eventually, the Mandalorians are winning. So apparently they're wearing really bad Beskar.
It's great value, Beskar.
It's wish Beskar. But they fight their way into a huge Empire hangar, and the Sandalorians have just never noticed it was there because they suck. So, okay, one of two things happen. Only one of two things can happen, right? Either this was all there already, in which case they should have known about it, or the Empire has built it since then, which fuck you, because it's only been like a week. And then the surface Mandalorians definitely should have known about it. So why? A door slams behind Mando and a few randoms who die almost immediately, and Bo-Katan pounds on the glass, as if she doesn't have a fucking sword on her belt that cuts through anything that she's proven to be very capable with.
Darksaber.
Now they're gonna
Darksaber can cut through that. Lightsabers can cut through blast doors. Darksaber, go.
Yeah.
Oh, what you doing, buddy? Darksaber. You set it up earlier. You mentioned it. Darksaber. You need to... Mando's actually being defeated. You need to get the Darksaber.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Darksaber, what are you doing?
God, they've actually defeated Mando.
But she has the Darksaber. It's right there.
Is she gonna actually cut through the door?
It's gonna be so
now?
fucking funny if she cuts through.
She's gonna go to the other side and cut it, right?
But
You
you could have
need to
cut
do that.
either side. Why didn't you do that earlier? Like, what the fuck?
You suck at thinking. But Mando has a last stand moment, and oh wow, it's Gideon. And he has a helmet with horns on it that people think is like the Armorer's, but it means nothing. I don't know why he has the helmet either, because it's not going to do anything and it means nothing. But Gideon says he's been up here mining a lot of Beskar, which means time has passed. Even though it can't have, surely, not in the amount he's talking about. But we know for a fact that he hasn't just made these, because he had them when Lady Bitch appeared earlier. So he's just making shit up. As are the writers, I guess. But this also makes a problem in the sequel trilogy as to why don't we see several of the elites in the First Order wearing Beskar. Kylo smashes his helmet with his bare hands, so I doubt Beskar was there, because surely you can't crush a metal that can tank a scorpion droid stomping on it with your bare hands. That would be dumb. Remember how there was the excuse that Phasma had a suit built from Palpaflux Cruiser or whatever? Now there's that metal and Beskar. We are acquiring problematic materials very quickly. But here, Gideon mentions that his dream clone army is comprised of the best of the Mandalorians, the cloners, and the Jedi. And I would like to emphasize that this is his example of every culture. And that is just oh so fucking telling. Because to Disney, the entire universe of Star Wars is Mandalorians, cloners, and Jedi, and Empire. Disney, you suck. How do you take a universe so vast with so much potential and still tell every single one of the same bullshit stories and still suck at it? How are you not trying to fail? Do you need to call someone? Is this a cry for help? I can get you a crisis line number. Let me help you. But then he sends out the bombers. Gideon is gloating and Mando is busy being a cutout, so they don't even bother trying to retroactively give him some dialogue. But guess who does have dialogue? Bo-Katan. It sucks, but she is the focus of this scene. But they all shoot the glass, which does nothing, because why would it? And then she uses the Darksaber to cut the back door open. I don't know why anything. I don't know why she wouldn't use it on the front door. I don't know why no one has half a brain cell in this scene. But the Mandalorians retreat. I don't know why, because they were winning, somehow. But then Big Chungus stops. He remembers that he is in fact a Mandalorian. he is a warrior. His job is to swing his dick at the enemy, and because he's Jon Favreau's self-insert, he's allowed to be cool. So Big Chungus kicks ass. And it's not wonderful choreography, but after everything we've gotten, I am a man dying of thirst in a desert who just found an old water bottle. It tastes like crap, but at least it hydrates me.
Say no. Be a real Mandalorian. Give me one.
Come on. We're not leaving you behind.
Yes! Yes! Thank you! Oh my gosh! One Mandalorian
Finally.
in the show.
Yep.
I don't care. I'm sure the internet's gonna say this is stupid. I don't care. This is right. This is in character for a Mandalorian.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Commander. They said their dick was bigger than mine. I mean, to be fair, he is kind of winning at the moment. Look at him. He's fucking taking them all out. You go, Big Chungus. Just start using
like
this
an
club.
actual Mandalorian, he just actually kills them all.
If the whole show was this, I'd be all about it. Why is this cool? What the fuck?
And because for one moment he is a real Mandalorian, he destroys them. This is what we should have seen from day one. Because this is Mandalorian. They should be helplessly outnumbered and outmanned and still kicking ass. Because that is what Mandalorians do. I have no doubt this is only loud because he's Favreau's wet dream, but damn it, I'll take it. But after a cool fight, Chungus is approached by the Promethean guards, and because they were chumps in TLJ, I'm sure you can take all three of these guys down, no sweat. Oh. Well, that's a shame. Honestly, the thing here that would have really saved this scene and damn near made me love it as much as the Luke scene is if he snapped that one's neck. I know it's Disney, but maybe make a show about Mandalorians, and this is the one time somebody has Mandalorianed. Maybe from here on out we can end things on a high note. We're not gonna, are we? Episode 8, Revenge of the Dumb. But we jump back in as Wolves is trying to escape the grasp of gravity with his jetpack. Presumably the same jetpacks that cannot keep up with a bird. Consistency is nice.
Wait, you're not flying all the way back to space.
Is he actually flying into orbit? He's not actually doing that, right?
You can't do that, surely?
You can't do that! He ran out of fuel when going like a couple miles.
To be fair, if you go straight up, it's shorter.
But there's a fight and the Beskar alloy has decided it's useful again, so they can do nothing. But Mando escapes captivity, and is somehow fine even when he's set on fire. Yeah, they don't even try to explain that. He snaps one of their necks, further proof that these are no longer droids. Then he's getting strangled, but I'm sure he'll be fine. I think Disney has genuinely forgotten that Gideon said they were all droids now.
Explain to me how one strangles a droid, because I don't understand.
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, are we pretending they're people again? Because they made such a big deal out of that. Like, he was like, no, I've improved the Dark Trooper. I've removed the human component. And now, what? Is the human component right back in?
I guess so.
Oh, jeez, Disney. You suck at the everything. Like, man, you're not even consistent with your own bullshit. That's the thing that drives me nuts. If you were bullshit... Like, The Last Jedi, for as horrible as it is, at least ascribed to its own rules. Only its own rules, but its own rules. This doesn't even do that.
But there's a long drawn-out moment, and then Grogu rescues Mando because he noticed that there were almost consequences for Mando's actions. Then he sprays him down with more plot armor to avoid this in the future. But Mando makes an impassioned speech about taking out Gideon once and for all. There's someone everyone keeps thinking is a baby. They have a brief chat with Bo-Katan, and Mando asks her location, but she doesn't know. I would like to remind everyone that Bo-Katan grew up here, and Mando has been here once, and was mostly unconscious during that time. So why the location would do him any good is a mystery, as is why Bo-Katan has no clue where she is. But we see Gideon staring at a holomap of the area, and there are two, I can only assume, motion tracking dots for Mando and Grogu. Why are they the only two in the entire station? How does the system know who they are enough to color code the dots? If Gideon knows exactly where they are, why not send everyone he has to stop them? As you will see in a moment, they ruin his very important plans in a moment because he does nothing.
Oh, so you're going to love this. The UI guys were working on it. Mando's the red dot, and then the little green dot. That's going to be his little Grogu baby.
No.
But Mando contacts R5, and your guess is as good as mine as to why and how R5 is here, because surely they didn't drop him in, or bring him with the scout team. Surely. But he sends R5 to get Gideon's location, because now it's suddenly capable.
Do you really, you have to show us the droid being afraid of the fucking... It just flew. Height's not really a problem when you can do that. Like, I actually just reached this point because I've just finished scripting episode 2.
Uh-huh.
And, man, this show will never, ever show you something if it can tell you something.
But lo and behold, it does it. But Wolves comes back and warns everybody to abandon ship. And almost everyone does. Except that he stays behind for no real reason. Because surely, one man cannot pilot a cruiser like this. That would be insanity. Also, they never showed what happened to the armorer and all the wounded people she was carrying. Without any context, I choose to believe they left them all on the cruiser to die, and you can't tell me I'm wrong. But yeah, Wolf sits in the captain's chair firing all the guns, which is surely not how that works. You don't control all the guns from one spot, and even if you did, it would surely be the gunner, not the captain, who does that. Back with Mando, he reaches in the hallway of ray shields and the not dark troopers, which surely doesn't lead to the command center, because that's where Gideon was when he took his private phone call. Layout is nice. But yeah, he needs R5 to lower the shields one at a time so he can fight these not dark troopers, even though he has no weapons. Wait, he has no weapons? Why didn't he take the blaster from the two that he took out? Why not arm yourself with whatever you find as you go? Mando, this is day one stuff. But Mando steals a knife, and there he goes killing people again. This is despite the fact that one lad clearly has a shield that he is not using. But wait, why does he have a shield? You're wearing Beskar, man, the Indestructimetal. Why would you have a shield? But Mando prepares to go against the next two who are using riot control weapons. Disney, please stop. You keep trying to make this work. It's not gonna work. The Force Awakens, Book of Boba Fett, now this, it doesn't work. Especially not with the equivalent of special ops. But yeah, because they have no way of actually killing Mando, he manages to win. And even more convenient, there's a bottomless pit and these guys don't have jetpacks because go fuck yourself. But Mando takes out two more and finally grabs a blaster. While he's in this shootout, he starts screaming at R5 to lower the next shield. No idea why, because he's not done with this guy yet. Oh, it's because R5 is doing battle with a group of mouse droids. Why the why, though? But Mando skids in and grabs another gun that can ignore Beskar. Who knows how these things work. But then the mouse droids start worrying and making noise.
I think we were supposed to laugh at that, but I wasn't.
We will never talk about R5 again. Mando leaves him to die in a betrayal that would make even a Yoshi jealous. But we see Mando in the room with what the show calls Gideon clones. But they briefly look at these guys and then blow them up, contributing nothing to anything. Why they had a self-destruct button is anyone's guess, but Bo-Katan and the Mandalorians head their way to the underground gardens. This scene is long and means very little to anything. But we see the other Mandalorians fly in, including the Armorer. No idea how or when she got there, but they move in an all-out attack.
Millions of dollars.
Oh
my god.
This is J.J. Abrams' Star Wars. This is all this is. Look at this shit.
Oh my god.
Are they actually just gonna fucking shoot it? What's happening?
Now is a good time to talk about the problem with ramping up stakes. See, George understood that there's only so big you can go before the human mind stops caring, because it can't process things. Blowing up a planet. That the human mind can grasp. That's horrible. After all, it's a planet so very much like Earth, where we live, and it's a peaceful planet. And boom, no more millions of lives. But we don't actually know who died, the scope of the thing is terrifying. Then comes Starkiller Base, and they blow up 5 planets. I know literally no one who thought this was even as impactful as what the Empire did. Oh, The Force Awakens would like you to think it is. And from a pure robotic number standpoint, that's probably true. However, the brain doesn't care, because we've already seen immense destruction, and blowing up 5 planets doesn't hit any harder than blowing up 1. Marvel is currently suffering from the same problem. The biggest they could get was Thanos wiping out half of all life. Now, he did this throughout the galaxy, but let's be honest, we really only cared about the damage done to our heroes because that's who we were connecting with. But even if it had only been Earth, we can understand that. Every single life coming down to a coin flip. Horrifying. But now they have nowhere left to go. Not that they haven't tried. Oh shit, it's a galaxy-level conflict where beings are birthed from planets and no one cares. Well, there's a threat that puts the very fabric of every universe in the multiverse at risk and oh, no one cares. Making the number bigger does not make me care more about it.
But uh-oh, the bad guys are making a Death Star because remember Star Wars? But this isn't any Death Star, this is a big Death Star. The largest object is the most important. It doesn't just blow up a planet, it blows up more than one. You can also tell a situation is more dire if a number is bigger. Look, we even made a diagram how much bigger this one is. Please care about this movie more than old Star Wars.
Look at the Red Wedding, for example. This is arguably the scene in Game of Thrones that got to the most people. Not everyone, I grant you, but most people felt this scene because we liked Robb. Robb is the classic hero, the guy standing up for his family against a corrupt family who killed his noble father. He falls in love, he gets married, then he, his wife, his mother, his pupper, and his entire army are slaughtered in one night. That is a scene that got to us, because the betrayal against those we connected with as the viewer made things hit so much harder. You showed us a Dark Trooper beating the shit out of Mando and nearly taking out a small rescue squad before Luke showed up and Jedi Grandmastered all over them. That's great, but now you just pumped up both sides as if that will make the threat all the greater and therefore make me care more. At most, in this entire conflict, the people one could care about are Bo-Katan, Din Djarin, and Grogu. Literally every other player in this is no one we care about because we've never actually met them. But you put the scales up so high that I'm expected to care. Again, look at the Battle of Winterfell, when we were foolish enough to think that many of these characters we love were in danger. But in this, there are 3 people in a squad of maybe 100 that I'm supposed to know. I don't care, Disney. I don't really even like Grogu or Mando. And you've already been steadily fucking up Bo-Katan throughout this series. So I don't really care what happens to her anymore either. I don't care about this show. I don't care about the stakes. So you can blare all the dramatic music you want and pump all the enemy full of all the bullshit steroids you want. It doesn't make me care. Alright, back to the crap. But yeah, the Dark Troopers are back to paper armor, so maybe the Mandalorians can win. And Mando has a big showdown with Gideon.
I was isolating the potential to wield the Force.
Did he just say he gave his clones the Force? Sounds like it. Isn't that literally what he just said?
I mean, I guess that would be something that evil Empire science would do.
What is that? We injected them with the Force.
What does that even mean? Yeah, like the Force gene
right?
from...
Oh, you missed his head, you fool!
I gave them the Force. Isn't he supposed to be ego-driven when he wanted it, though?
The Force.
Yep. There it is. There it is.
Yep. Alright, 3, 2, 1. Free.
Okay, I don't care that technically midichlorians give people connection to the Force, and I guess they're saying they injected people with them, the clones with them. It's really fucking dumb.
Okay, so perhaps you don't understand why this is an issue, but let's go over it. Perhaps this doesn't actually break any established rules, strictly speaking. After all, the Force comes from midichlorians, so if you pump those into a clone, I guess that could work. Why you could clone yourself as an old man, I have no clue, but it's not really important right now. But cloning the Force into somebody breaks unspoken rules, which Disney doesn't understand or care about. There was never a rule you can't hyperdrive into another ship and vivisect it, but it makes every space battle before and after dumb, because everyone should be doing that. There was never an established rule you can't just force choke another Jedi in a lightsaber fight, but it makes every single lightsaber fight ever pointless because that should end every fight. There was never a rule that you can't just instantly blow up a hangar and a bridge as if they have no shields, but you shouldn't because it makes every capital ship useless. There was never a set rule that says you can't turn a lightsaber on and off super quick and give yourself a huge leg up in a lightsaber fight. But you shouldn't do that because it makes us question why that isn't a tactic everyone is doing every fight. There was never a set rule that Force Ghosts couldn't physically interact with the world around them, but they shouldn't because there's no reason they shouldn't just fight every single battle ever and never lose because they're ghosts. There was never a rule you couldn't force heal any and every wound, even from death, but you shouldn't because it makes the states of fights, injuries, and death totally pointless. There was never a rule that you couldn't just clone the Force into somebody, but you shouldn't because why wouldn't you just have an army of Force clones at your disposal, making both the Clone Wars and the concept of life and death in Star Wars utterly meaningless. Just because it doesn't strictly go against the established lore does not make it something you're permitted to do, Disney. You have to consider if it fits the universe you're dealing with. There's nothing wrong with the general understanding, oh, I guess you can't just Force-stroke a Jedi mid-fight, or, oh, you can't clone Force abilities into a person. Okay, sure, if you're a good writer, giving a solid reason, or some excuse is even better. But just leaving it as something people just can't do is not a horrible thing in cases of mystical and strange forces and abilities. But you've proven, oh, they can do all these things and they just never do them. But they fight. Mando misses his head several times, despite it being the sole part of Gideon that is unarmored and would be an instant kill. There's a few jet tackles, and they never mention it, but I think Gideon's suit gives him super strength. I don't know that that's ever brought up, he just has it. But the Promethean guards show up. Really not putting your best foot forward there. Gideon easily could and should be dead by now. But Mando sucks some dick for a few minutes, but he doesn't die because the weapons are set on baby mode again. Nice to see something consistent in your work, Jon. But then, behold, for here is the merch. They slowly approach Grogu so he can actually back up in time without being overtaken. Much accommodating. Such guard. Thank you. Then Mando gets blasted with a missile, but it's set on baby mode, so he's fine. Then Mando gets strangled for the second time that day, but it's set on baby mode, so he's fine. Back in the sky, the Mandalorians are winning. Fuck you if you ask me how, because I don't know. Even the armorer is cleaning up house. Seriously, the Dark Trooper droids were much of an upgrade from this. But the Promethean guards almost instantly destroy IG-12, despite moving even slower than they do in TLJ. Nice to know that that was actually an important plot point, not just pointless merch to shove down our throats, Disney. But the baby casually waddles around this lighting structure, and they strike at him, but the enemy is set to baby mode, so he's fine.
Oh my god, there's an infant in here.
What is happening? Why is this Star Wars? What is going on?
Trying to kill the baby.
I like how his arms are straight down. He's not actually moving his
just wibbly
arms
wobbling
to
like a little puppet.
Mando gets set on fire, but it's set on baby mode, so he's fine. Then there's another case of super strength. I have no clue what's going on with that. There's presumably a cut scene or something that might explain it. And then again, knowing this show, maybe not. But Bo-Katan saves Mando again and starts fighting Gideon. The fight choreography here is just as bad as ever. And Mando blasts the Promethean guards in the back right as they're about to kill Baby Yoda and come to the end of my misery. They're wearing, well, it's not Beskar, so they're wearing whatever they're wearing that keeps them alive, and they restrain Mando. Grogu throws him as casually as swatting a fly. Back in the other fight, Bo-Katan gets stabbed several times, but the staff is set on baby mode, so she's fine. Maybe if Gideon had an actual fucking weapon, it would matter. There is choreography, then it's very telling because it's been 5 years since TLJ, and we are facing the exact same enemies with equally bad choreography. This dude just straight up ignoring Mando. No, Dave and Jon aren't just as shit as Ryan and JJ. Why would anyone suggest that? Dave and Jon are good writing. But eventually, Mando breaks the damage threshold and they win. Would have been nice if any of the Beskar Baby Yoda's wearing would have served any purpose, but who knows what setup and payoff is. But Wolves has decided to Aloha Snackbar himself into the base, despite the fact that everyone is fighting in it, including Bo-Katan.
Yeah, you don't even know if they can get out. What? You're like, I'm helping.
You've committed, my dude. You could have messaged them sooner.
Remember that plan we didn't have, everyone?
This seems like the type of move you would get clearance for beforehand. Because what if everyone can't get out in 2 minutes? Well, what do I know? Bo-Katan screams and starts baseball bat swinging away in what may be the worst case of telegraphing throughout Star Wars. And I'm aware that there is a lot of it. I mean, this is almost as bad as the Book of Boba Fett spin. Just ew. Ew to all of this fighting. I can't believe this got cleared for production. Whoever designed this fight should be fired. But Gideon catches her hand and crushes the dark. You can do that now.
You can do that now.
You can do that now.
Oh, that was easy.
Oh, did he break the dark saber?
Broke the
Thank
dark
God.
saber?
Thank fucking God.
That's actually...
He did that with his hand?
Well, your hand destroyed her.
What? Did he just break your hand then?
Thank you so much.
Look, I've already gone over the impossibly strong bullshit metal several times before, and they've already said this hilt was a quality of Beskar they've never seen. But squeezy squeeze, and that's it. Goodbye, no more. Oh, what? 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 No. No, 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 no.
No! No, no! 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 No!
Ancient legendary weapon crafted by a fallen Jedi? Squish.
Yep. It's made of Beskar.
It's made of Beskar. Absolutely it is. Sure, Disney. Wow.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
The disrespect. It's your own fucking weapon too, Dave. I think you invented this. But as almost all the Mandalorians escape, the three who anyone might actually care about are about to suffer the effects of a fully operational snack bar. Bo-Katan screams a fair bit, and it just doesn't seem intimidating for her. It seems more like a 5-year-old being told no ice cream. But they're there as the base gets blown up and Grogu makes a force shield. I don't even care to question this. Grogu sets up yet another overpowered ability that I remind you is holding back the explosive force of an entire cruiser smashing into this base at terminal velocity. Sure, show, whatever you say.
Yeah, but he'll be horribly scarred.
Because of the force rags, baby.
It'll be thousands
there you
and
go.
thousands.
Look, there's the force power.
We
Wow,
did it.
that is an insanely powerful move.
Mandalorians are stronger together.
And Baby Yoda.
Well, no, Baby Yoda's a
Shouldn't,
Mandalorian.
like, the platform that they're sitting on be vaporized as well? Like,
yeah.
It's not just
I
the
don't know.
flames going past them.
I would expect the whole cave to collapse in on them, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's a massive capital ship that's just exploding in the interior of a cave.
How long do we need
Everything
to
will
do
be
this?
scorched.
They show a shot of the city above the surface. It's not in a crater or anything, so I guess they're indicating the Mandalorians magically moved a whole city above ground. I have no clue why, because it's not important. But hey, who can keep track of things like facts? Writing is hard, isn't it, boys? But Big Chungus' son is getting rechristened because now there's no Mosasaurus to interrupt it. Then Mando walks up with Grogu, who is, by this show's own rules, too young to speak the creed, and has no helmet, and is therefore only a foundling and not a true Mandalorian. Even the armorer mentions this rule. But then Mando ex machinas a rule out of his ass. They decide to declare him part of Din's family and a true Mandalorian. For some reason he doesn't have to have a helmet, but they leave Mandalorian and get Grogu experience even though he's already outdone the other younglings and has Jedi powers. Well, I'm sure we'll see Mando training Grogu in an after-credit scene. Bo-Katan lights the forge. That I guess means something. But we can see that the Mandalorians have once again multiplied by quite a bit. But we see Mando heading to the New Republic base, and no one questions why a Mandalorian is here. Apparently it's just public knowledge that Mando was there when Gideon got extra crispy. I have no clue how that's known. There's definitely no remains, so I guess they all just took his word for it. Off screen. Why does that remind me of something?
Tell them.
But Mando suggests that he becomes the New Republic's go-to bounty hunter.
You know this is against regulation.
Why? It shouldn't be! This is literally just hiring a bounty
First of
hunter.
all, why would that be against regulation? And second of all, why does he care?
Oh, that's Dave Filoni, Cowboy Hat Man.
He really is. Here I am over here fucking ruining Star Wars.
Saving Star Wars.
Yeah, right.
Also, Grief is strongly accepting of the guy who just took his entire army, and then they make a robot a marshal. So I guess we're going to see Mando training Grogu on bounty hunting and so forth. Oh, okay, then Mando's just kicking up his feet. Sure, I guess. Anyway, that's the end. This show is absolute piss. There's nothing redeeming in this. Seriously, I'm not sure if like the writer's strike kicked in a quarter of the way through this and they just had an AI finish it or something, but this is not good. This is so bad. Ugh, to jump off of Star Wars, I want to say thanks for all the positive feedback I've gotten on this style of video. I have 2 more planned commentaries for now, and then I'll likely take a break for a little bit. Certainly not that I'm not going to do any more of these, but these do take a ton of work, and I really want to focus on my books and my music and other videos for a while. But I'm sure I'll return to make more of these in the future. Thanks for watching, and remember, it is no bad thing to ask for quality content. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, or you're upset that I destroyed something you like, why not rip into something of mine? It's fair play. My book, Case for Connors, is now available on Amazon. Link in the description.